everybody. We are actually just going to take a second here on the main menu. I wanted to show you a little bit of a difference between where we started on the last playthrough and where we are right now, to sort of show you how quickly things can change in terms of Crusader Kings 2. I feel like my volume levels are a little skewed. Hey, how's it going, T. Clark? Good to see you again, as always. I completely failed to follow up on your suggestions that I use the Steam group to announce when I was going to be doing some streams with other people. Oh, actually, I think I can improve my mic level a little bit here. Alright, hopefully that'll keep the music from drowning me out too much. But yeah, so my intention was to announce some of the co-op casts. The big one was Wanderlust, which was really seemed to be very popular. Certainly a little bit of a different format than what I normally do. Why am I dropping frames? Just a second. Okay, looks like it's balanced out now. If you guys notice that there's a very large drop in quality, please let me know. I'll do my best to resolve it. But yeah, so I actually wound up doing a lot more casting this week than I thought I was going to do. For those of you who maybe didn't catch some of the stuff that was happening on Twitter, obviously last week, exactly a week ago, we finished off the House of Rose playthrough, which was a lot of fun to do, and then Shan so kindly sent his stream my way, so we wound up beginning the next playthrough already, which is we're going to be playing as Charlemagne, starting in the 767, I think, opening. Basically the one that you get with the Charlemagne DLC. Then Monday, we did just kind of the normal variety cast. And then on top of that, we've done a co-op cast for Wanderlust, and then I wound up doing one with Superior Blaze. I didn't know that Blaze was going to be streaming that, actually, so I don't feel that I did quite as well as I should have on that cast. And for that matter, the Monday cast really wasn't anything to write home about. I know I was talking about how tired I was. I had fun doing it, but, you know, I think it was quite obvious how tired I was in that particular cast. So, as always, I should apologize for times where I don't necessarily think I do the best work that I can, but I hope some of the extra content made it up for you. And in the future, I will try and follow up on those recommendations that everybody's been giving me as far as making sure that I announce that stuff properly. And I think the insight that I should be using the Steam group for that is a good one. In addition, I know there was a little bit of debate in terms of what I should be doing with the Friday night streams, so there is now a poll, which actually I should probably drag up the link for. Let me just bring up my Twitter. So it's just a SurveyMonkey poll, but the idea here is I'm using... So there's a couple of purposes for this poll here. One of them is just to get an idea in terms of what I'll be doing with Friday nights. So, the original format was going to be... Hang on, where did it go? Here we go. So the original plan was that Friday nights would be dedicated Crusader Kings 2 nights, and part of the reason for that was I just simply was not in... Like, I didn't know what I was doing with... Yeah, definitely T. Clark. It should be this poll. Let me just double check that I'm not leading you astray. Yeah, the SurveyMonkey. Alright, sorry, I got a little sidetracked just trying to find that link. So, the original format was going to be Crusader Kings 2 on Fridays exclusively. And the main reason for that was I own Europa Universalis. I actually own the 4 Grand Strategy titles by Paradox now, although it's worth keeping in mind that Victoria 2, for my purposes, is a PC-only title. They have ported it to Mac, but they've not made it available on Steam for Mac. You actually have to buy the game a second time if you want to be playing that on a Mac. So again, I've already expressed what I think about Paradox's customer service practices. I'm not going to retread that right now, but this is some of the stuff that I gotta deal with, especially if I want to stream on my current platform. That is a Twitter link. So, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with Europa Universalis 4, which means that at some point in the future I'm going to be streaming it. And of course, now that we've completed a big full playthrough of Crusader Kings 2, that invites not just a retread of Crusader Kings 2, because there's definitely a lot of content that you can get. Like, comparing what I did in that House of Rose playthrough to what I've done when I played this game privately on my own, there's already a ton of stuff which I haven't shown you. And that's just because there are things that happen to certain sections of the world based on certain events, and we'll possibly run into some of that tonight. In addition, there's just this simple idea of people liking variety. So now that I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with Europa Universalis 4, I thought I would open up a couple of avenues for opinion. Obviously, you guys can always share your feelings through chat or send me a message through Twitch or, Twitter or something like that. But I thought I'd do a little bit of a poll and take the opportunity to get a litmus test on a couple of other things, just in terms of what people put in, or what people want out of the streams and things like that. Some of it is just questions like, how important for you is it for me to run the latest DLC? So through the House Rose playthrough, I got a couple of extra pieces of DLC. This playthrough with Charlemagne is actually going to be the first time that I'm using Way of Life. It's something that we didn't have, so the game's still going to be different each time I wind up playing it. But one of my preferred methods with the Paradox titles is to buy the DLC when it goes on a substantial discount. So I didn't own Way of Life for the longest time because I didn't want to buy it until it was 75% off. If you guys get a lot more out of the stream from having, the latest DLC into games, I'll consider it. Obviously, that's an expense on my part, but you guys have also been very generous in terms of your donations. So I don't necessarily mind giving some of that back if that means that it's going to be something that you guys get something out of. So sometimes the stuff people don't necessarily feel comfortable communicating in chat or privately. They don't necessarily want those opinions to be connected with them. So I thought a survey would be a good way of doing that. As I said in the Twitter announcement that put out that survey, don't take it as any indication in terms of radical changes in format. This is a little bit more about figuring out where people are and sort of comparing my views about what people want compared to what they're willing to say on a survey. In the end, one of the reasons I'm doing a Survey Monkey as opposed to a straw poll is, as much as I like taking people's input, this is a dictatorship. So even if I had like 90% I want to see Europa Universalis every Friday, if I thought that I would have a little bit more sustainability in the cast, I would enjoy it enough. I would enjoy it more, and I would be showing up consistently if I kept doing Crusader Kings 2. I would still keep doing that. It doesn't mean that people's opinions are meaningless to me. I'm doing the survey for a reason. But I don't necessarily believe the idea of 51% of the stream said they want to do Europa Universalis 4, so all of a sudden I'm not playing the game that I want. So just to give you an idea, don't think that because a question was asked on a survey that it means I'm, even remotely close to taking it in. But with that in mind, I thought it would be nice to get some feedback from you guys through another avenue. As far as stuff that's coming up, I believe Tony Loran is going to be doing her Operation Supply Drop cast. So I've not actually done a formal Operation Supply Drop cast for myself, but I think it's a worthy cause, and I'm very happy to help out my fellow Team Panda members to do that. So that was a little bit about what Wanderlust Adventures was for, although it maybe wasn't as explicit. Certainly there's a lot of people on Team Panda doing it, so Seriously Clara is doing Operation Supply Drop. I believe the Weebro and Miss Ariella have done Operation Supply Drop as well. And again, if I can contribute, the big thing is that I don't normally like doing charity stuff unless I have kind of a very clear goal in terms of, or a very clear idea about how I'm going to achieve a certain goal, and some clear sort of plans in terms of what I'll do for the stream. So with that in mind, I decided to opt out as a participant myself in terms of my own stream, but I definitely want to help support some of these other streamers in their efforts. So if Tony Loran will have me, I will be helping her out on Sunday's stream, I believe. I'll do my best to communicate that through Twitter and maybe get around to using the Steam group for that. And I think it'll probably be Wanderlust Adventures again. And I believe it will be possibly Beyond Soul. Obviously it's her cast, so I'll do what I'm told. And for those of you who saw the previous Wanderlust Adventures cast, I'm sorry. It'll probably be more of the same. So, anyways, I am done for babble. Let's get on with our Charlemagne play. So, what I want to do here is show you a little bit about what the game starts off as and the information that it gives you. Some of this will be familiar. Information. Oh, and now I can remember. So, start dates. 769 AD, 867 AD, 1066 AD, 1241 AD, and 1337 AD. I'll probably wind up forgetting that, but one thing that's interesting, I don't know how official this is. I've heard versions that say the Middle Ages actually start as early as 400 AD. I don't know quite how much weight to put on that, but currently, Crusader Kings, the earliest start date is the time of Charlemagne. As we kind of talk about that this game is a game of kind of displaying information and making decisions on that, so rather than look at all the greenery or all the deserts, let's take a look at the divisions of the kingdoms. Well, T. Clark, the purpose of that is actually to find out who's reading the questions. So it's whenever you have long survey responses, one of the problems that you run into is like people just kind of click through without reading the questions. So whenever you see on a survey, please choose 4. It's a way of basically making you it's a way of actually finding out whether or not somebody's read the questions or if they just kind of hit random buttons. Quality control. Alright, so the Charlemagne playthrough you begin in the... So, historically what the case was, it was not... The way that Crusader Kings has modeled this is to have 2 different kingdoms, but I believe Charlemagne's and Carloman's dad was Pepin, and it wasn't so much the case that there were 2 kingdoms created as they were co-rulers, and sort of the division was such that they were sort of forced to work together. Now, there isn't necessarily a very good way to model that in Crusader Kings 2 in its current form, so what they do is they give you Middle Francia and West Francia. So in this case here, you are playing it as if there are as if these are two separate kingdoms. And of course, historically what happened was Carloman conveniently died very early on in this arrangement. If you read like the wiki article, it sort of raises, it's like he conveniently died, and so there's a little bit of an implication in terms of assassination. Crusader Kings 2 makes that explicit. If you play, in my playthrough, I actually just sent a plot to kill him. Oh, co-emperors, thank you, the bear. If you actually play as Carloman, you get these events where your mom keeps stopping by, and, it's kind of... I've never actually picked the options where you potentially die, but in my case, it was just, I set up a group of archers between the scroll repository and the grassy knoll, and filled them full of arrows. There is an achievement, by the way. I've gotten a couple of achievements in this to play as Carloman and form the Empire of Francia. But basically, comparisons that I will actually make for this game is if you play the Game of Thrones mod, which I kind of want to try at some point, but I'm not quite sure how to work it into the schedule. There is the kingdom or the empire, which is governed by the Iron Throne in the game. And the neat thing that they do there is that once, there's a succession crisis that gets created. So if somebody, wants to overthrow the king, or, the king dies or something like that, all of a sudden the kingdom is divided into these 5 factions, or probably more than 5 factions actually, but basically it's divided into the factions, and war breaks out. So they take this concept a little bit differently, which is rather than create 2 kingdoms, you would probably in the Game of Thrones mod, you would actually have just Francia be one entity, and in this case you would actually just have 2 characters that you play inside of it. So it's kind of neat where the modding community seems to have taken a different direction from what Paradox decided to do. In either case, I think they both turned out all right, but in this case they just modeled a historical situation a little bit differently from what it... I think I think there are different things that are implied by the setup that Paradox chose to do than what actually occurred in history. Although again, I'm not that well versed on the history itself. DJ, hey Kite, how's it going? CK2 Plus mod depicts the Carling Empire very well. Oh, thanks, the bear. Yeah, the only mod I've actually checked out is the Game of Thrones one. So I should probably start opening up a couple of ones. Yes, and DJ Cool Crusader, you're mentioning some of your mod packs. So anyways, the whole purpose of bringing up this map here was actually just to show you, in the game when you're starting off, it'll give you a difficulty ranking, the Soother representing easy, and then difficult, or the Skull and Crossbones giving you difficult. So the 2 Carling brothers are basically the same. If you play as a Duke under one of the Carlings, you've got some difficulty. This is about halfway through. I'm trying to think of some of the more difficult playthroughs. I think if you pick one of the... I always thought some of the Caliphates were difficult. Well, the Abbasids wouldn't be difficult. There you go. So if you want a challenge, apparently playing as, what is it? Cumin is supposed to be fairly difficult. But again, to give you an idea, the game that we started last time, we chose King Carl of West Francia. And after that relatively brief playthrough, we can now take a look at what the game ranks the difficulty as. CK2 Plus is basically vanilla with more provinces, characters, titles, and such. Alright. So, we successfully killed our brother. We now have West Francia, and difficulty has gone to pointless of 0%. Socorta. Okay. The thing that's worth mentioning is the Rose playthrough was my first full Iron Man playthrough of Crusader Kings 2, and most of the games that I'd played before that were just sort of, you know, a little, like, I played a little bit, but I kind of quit relatively early on through the playthrough. So, as far as the actual content of the game, I'm quite new. I think the number of hours that I have listed as playing this game is actually a bit deceptive, and the reason for that is I have had the... Like, I've had the game open, and then, like, I've gone to bed with the game open, and just, like, I'm an idiot, basically. So, quite a few of those hours wind up being... quite a few of those hours actually wind up just being me burning CPU cycles for absolutely no reason. DJ Cool Crusader liked CK2. By the way, I'm sorry if I didn't say hello to... everybody here. T-Collect doesn't do random, but no. Yeah. So I'm just catching up on chat. I think I've seen every... Blood Galata, I didn't say hello to you. Kite, I think I said hello to you as well for those of you, but I don't believe I said that Kite is a fellow Team Panda member. Be sure to check him out. So the guy I was co-oping with, Superior Blaze, Kite does much better co-op casts with Superior Blaze. If he would like... Oop. If you quit early as you do, play as the 1337 start date. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. In the end, I am kind of an achievement whore, so I'll bring... Oh, wait, I keep forgetting. Whenever I'm streaming, it takes forever to load this stuff. So if you have not done so already, feel free to click on Kite's name and hit the follow button. If hopefully I have gotten him over his modesty and he will be willing to drop a link to himself on his own, but Twitch has made it very easy to follow and check out users just by clicking on their name. But in any case, so Kite does better co-cast with Superior Blaze. The one that I particularly remember is Portal 2, but I know they've done Monaco together. I actually hope to join them on a Monaco session sometime myself. But I'm not always that good at scheduling. But he's a really great streamer, really great guy. My patron, seriously Clara, who is the owner of Team Panda, well, the partnered streamer who opened up Team Panda, wanted a piano. He very generously donated to have her piano transferred back to her apartment. He is, in addition to being a good streamer, is a very generous person. So is just an overall great fellow. Bear has 94 hours in Crusader Kings 2, but only 4 cheery achievements because always playing modded. Yeah, actually, so as much as I like modding itself, I don't actually use that many. But I just did a quick run through. I wanted to see what it's like to play as Carloman, and when I played as Carloman, I got the Exalted Among Men ambition. What else did I get as him? Persistent Survivor is the achievement that I got for completing the House of Rose playthrough. I Shed the Blood of Saxon Men, I got as Carloman. Little Brother Rules, which is what I was going for, and that's just become the Emperor of Francia as Carloman, brother of Charlemagne. So the idea here would be to upset history a little bit. I'm not entirely sure I can get the Paragon of Virtue one. A lot of these others I think I'd find a little bit more difficult, just because they involve playing particular scenarios, and I kind of like going for, I'd like, start as a Jewish ruler and see how far I can survive. That's maybe not a good example because there's one about creating the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which I could try. Legacy of Rome I'd love to try sometime. Maybe that'll be another playthrough that I do. But in any case, I got 3 achievements when I was kind of fooling around a little bit. Little Brother Rules, Shed the Blood of Saxon Man, and finally got the Exalted Among Men ambition, which is kind of weird that I didn't get that on my first playthrough, but there you have it. Monaco's fun, then everything goes to hell. That's when it gets really fun, chaotic but fun. Alright, so where we left off, one of the reasons why I finished last game was I needed to figure out what I am doing with this empire. The drawback that I have right now is my domain's too big. Now that just came from the prisoners that I have. I wanted to make sure I stripped as many titles as I could because it's a really good opportunity to do so. If you notice here, I get negative 20 opinion from vassals for stealing any more titles. So this has the advantage of allowing me to sort of redistribute titles the way that I want, but the drawback, of course, is that I have to give away 4 titles, and I've got 11 more vassals than I can handle. So one of the reasons why I wanted to stop the playthrough last time was sort of figure out the best way for me to handle the vassal situation. Right now, I've got a completely decentralized realm, which is going to increase my vassal limit by the largest. Any centralization that I do is going to decrease the vassal limit, but it's going to increase my own personal domain size. So that's a way that I could handle this 11 out of 7 number, but I would also see a reduction in terms of the overall vassal limit. One of the things I wanted to explore was the possibility of seeing if your vassal size increases by creating an empire. Now, in one sense, it can. There's a style of governance that you can introduce which will actually increase your vassal limit, but this would require me to have an empire, and it would also require me to make some law changes. So in this case, it's not a very practical change. It's not a very practical approach to my current problem, which is I need to get rid of 11 vassals. So the nice thing about starting this over again, obviously we talked a little bit about what our current ambitions are, how we're going to get all of this worked out. So let's just maybe take a second, reflect about what we're what our current situation is, what we want to accomplish, and maybe think about how we're going to manage the next few turns. And again, this is the nice thing about the Paradox games, which is in one sense they are real-time strategy games, but you can hit the pause button whenever you want and just kind of take a second to calculate and reflect on your next set of moves. So, let me catch up with chat. Bear tried William the Conqueror achievement. You went over 2 years, so no one had to change that. Oh, the Bear. Actually, I gotta mention this. So, the very first game of Crusader Kings 2 I ever played, I used one of the bookmarked start points. I played as William the Conqueror. I had no idea what I was doing. I just, invaded England, just put a bunch of armies and just ran them in like lemmings into the English, and I wound up killing the English king in the first assault. It was like a 6-second battle for England, and I won. Like, just... okay, I got England, that's easy. So, I was maybe a little disappointed to find out that combat doesn't always work that way in this game, and that this game is actually really hard. But for one brief moment, I felt like I was the best Crusader Kings 2 player in the world. DJ Cool Crusader, you would have been an achievement whore if CK2 was released with achievements in the first place. I didn't know that it wasn't released with achievements. That's good to know. So yeah, I've got what I can. I think it's actually a good way of approaching the game. So I love the fact that achievements are only earnable through the Iron Man mode. I think that's a really wonderful way of doing it, and it encourages you to really think about your moves. Like, if you can... you can learn very well by having a save game and just kind of iterating over a few different strategies and see which ones work. But really, I think the great fun of this game is finding out what you want to do when things don't go your way. So like when we were starting the House of Rose playthrough, there were a couple of times where we actually lost territory, and the question was like, is it worth getting back? The answer is always yes, because we're the House of Rose. But the second trick was, let's just accept the fact that our current circumstances don't allow us to defend this piece of territory. Why don't we just wait until, this guy's overextended by trying to take this piece of territory, so we'll just take that back and then some in reply. So if you have the ability to load old save games, you tend not to accept failure as much. But I like the fact that there's this enforcement mechanism, which is if you want to go for these achievements, then, you have to pay the price of iron. You have to go on the Iron Man mode. If you just went in Iron Man, you just console command your way to everything. Yeah, exactly. So to answer the Bear's question about am I going to make the Francia Empire or form the HRE, honestly, I think I'm going to do both. So what he's talking about here is right now I can make 22 different titles, including the Empire of Francia, I believe. Yeah. Now, in this case, I think I have enough piety to be able to do that. So one of the things that I was curious about was whether or not creating the Empire of Francia would increase my vassal limit. It doesn't. Actually, let me take this back a little bit. I want to try and be a bit systematic in terms of how I talk about this. So the current problems that we run into is my domain size is too big. I've got too many vassals. I suspect I probably have too many duchies. I've got Aquitaine, Franconia, Upper Lorraine... Okay, so only 3. So what I need to do is I need to give away at least one duchy if I want my vassals to be happy. I need to give away. Giving that away will probably give up at least one county as well, so I can probably start fixing my domain size. So I need to make sure that I give away at least one duchy. I need to make sure that I give away probably 3 more titles so I can bring my domain size in. The next thing I need to do is get rid of vassals. Now this is a little bit trickier. I think I'll go into the details of it later, but the best way is to just kind of create duchies and have what were formerly vassals of yours just go under some other kind of ruler. DJ Crew Crusader doesn't cheat, so he has no use for the Iron Man mode. Remember, once you become Emperor, if you hold more than your capital kingdom, vassals will want the other kingdoms. Yeah. Starting a Paradox game as follows: start a new game, have no idea what you're doing, do the tutorial, have even less an idea of what you're doing, start a new game, and carpe diem the whole thing while just hoping for the best. Well, one funny thing is a lot of people talk about how they play Europa Universalis and they can't get into Crusader Kings 2. I find the opposite. Crusader Kings 2, I basically taught myself playing that House of Rose playthrough. But Europa Universalis 4, I actually needed to watch some people play it before I understood it. And even now, I think I have a very shaky understanding of that game. Well, DD Crusader, I actually don't think the tutorial of EU4 is any better, personally. But there is something to be said for watching people play these games and getting something out of that. So, wow, this Spymaster sucks. This guy, yeah. Actually, let's just take a second and put all the best people in the roles. This usually makes people really mad at you to fire them like this, but such is life. I already replaced my Spymaster, and surely I have a better court chaplain. Yeah, there we go. So, not really related to the current problem. The current problem that I have is basically all about my domain, the number of vassals that I have and the number of titles that I have. But at this point here, just because I managed to inherit the entire kingdom of Francia, or Empire of Francia, I figured it'd probably be a good time to do a little bit of a shake-up as far as my realm's concerned. So let's see here. I've got. Let's actually start working on military tech. Do I have any heresies? Different religions? Looks like we can do some conversions. One of the reasons why I'm starting my conversions right away is they can, if you don't do any kinds of religious conversions, it's possible to have uprisings. So differences of religion will create unrest. One of the things that I would look at right now is, this is probably because of my vassal limit, but I'm currently sitting at 3,000 troops. The Umayyads presently have almost 7,000. And the Lombards, while I am married to one, are sitting on about 4,000. So it's a fairly shaky proposition for me to beat back any kinds of invasions right now. What's Bavaria sitting at, actually? 1.43, so I'm not too worried about that. Basically, anything I can do to sort of reduce my my unrest is welcome at the moment. Bears never played tutorials for any game. You just go on YouTube and watch somebody else play it? Yeah. Paradox tutorials are pretty hard for Paradox games. YouTube is your best friend. Francia, baby mode. Perhaps true brute, but that's what people wanted to watch. You would rather watch terrible songs for 5 hours than doing those tutorials. Well, I mean, to give them credit, like, in terms of what they cover, they will tell you what, like, so if they want to tell you about how you raise levies, you're going to know how to raise levies at the end. What I think the Paradox tutorials do a bad job of is contextualizing the information. So, try to revoke the Paris county and make it my capital. It's a far better province than Vermandos, and it's in the same duchy. That's a good point. I don't believe I can revoke Paris without... Yeah. Hopefully he joins a faction or something like that. With 78 opinion, that's unlikely. So I'll probably wind up playing the long game on this one, but that's... You make a good point, actually. The House Rose playthrough, I had this stubborn insistence on remembering where I came from, so we kept Westmoreland the capital of the Empire of Britannia. But this time, actually, it makes sense to actually somewhat govern effectively, so... moving the capital to Paris is actually a good idea. I won't necessarily do that right away, but I think, you know, never let a good crisis go to waste. I'll have somebody either join a faction, join a plot against me, and I'll just seize it from them under those pretenses. The actual in-game hits are good, it's just the tutorial. Hey, Rune Broder, how's it going? But yeah, so the challenge with the tutorials is basically that, like, it's something that I'm failing to do right now, but I remember when we started this playthrough, it's trying to, answer this question to people who've never played the game before, which is, this is a really interesting, complicated game. It's great because it's complicated, but it's also the biggest turnoff for people. So how do you break down this problem of saying that, the most appealing feature of this game is that you can do lots of interesting things and that there's lots of different ways to play, while still making it the sort of thing which is like, okay, it's actually worth my time to go into this. Am I an Empire? I've never actually played as Francia. I'm not presently an Empire because the, where we started off was West Francia as Charlemagne. Just recently killed our brother to inherit the full kingdom/empire. So I have the option right now of creating the Empire of Francia. But what that'll do is that'll blow 400 prestige, and I can't remember how much gold. I can bring that up in the find titles. That will cost me 470 gold. So what I basically do for that determination is, okay, what do I gain? Well, I get 800 prestige, I get a big title, I get a bunch of claims on things. I'm still missing 5 provinces from the Empire, so in this case, I would, if you want to see the provinces, you can just switch the view. So I kind of gain all these claims on Brittany. So in that sense, I just do the cost-benefit analysis. I say it's like, okay, well, 400 piety isn't a whole lot to lose early on in the game. Gold right now is quite valuable to me. I only have 250 because I've got my vassals completely out of whack. I don't have a big army, so I kind of want to keep something in reserve to be able to hire mercenaries. And really, when it comes down to it, is it going to cost me 470 gold to fabricate claims on these territories? I'm not entirely convinced, and that's assuming that I can't vassalize them already. Nope. What makes them opposed to that? Oh, foreign culture. Fair enough. So there is a goal to create the Empire of Francia, but the big question right now is this the best use of my resources? So, nope. Man, you guys are active tonight. Not an empire, but must be damn close. It's definitely worth it. Having kings as vassals means less people to appease. Vassal kings negative 25 opinion. System Talk, by the way, you gave CK2 to a friend. You told him about your ridiculous playthroughs and he understands why it happens. Great. Francia should be pronounced Francia, just friendly help. Fair enough. I'll probably just still calling it Francia, but I appreciate the feedback. So yeah, there's a little bit of discussion. So one of the things that's kind of happening, I have 2 masters that I kind of need to appeal to in chat right now, which is there's some established Crusader Kings 2 players playing right now where they kind of want to discuss strategy as far as individual players of the game will go, and then maybe introduce the game to some new people, kind of maybe some of the regulars on my channel who tend not to play these kinds of games. So what they're kind of discussing right now is whether or not I should create an empire, and then rather than having dukes as vassals, I have kings as vassals. In this case, of course, I have a little bit less to manage, but of course, as is my way, in the last playthrough, I liked having a lot of very weak vassals because it made punching uprisings a little bit simpler. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of different modifiers as far as opinions and things like that. I'm actually not entirely sure where I'm going to go with that. I'll kind of let things work out on their own. I think at this point, probably creating an empire and kingdoms is one of the most expensive options that I have, and I have committed myself to family focus at the moment, which I think is a bit of a questionable decision on my part. It's good for the extra diplomacy, it's great for the extra fertility, but the drawback is that I have... The drawback is that I haven't gone on a pilgrimage yet, so I'm sort of leaving some easy piety on the table. And then, of course, if I'm running into this problem of money, which I've mentioned a couple of times, it probably makes sense to go towards some of these other stewardship options as well. So Again, I do want to have more heirs. Right now I only have bastards. But I still think I probably could have done better, if I'm completely honest with myself. I think that decision kind of came at the end of the 9-hour cast, so on the other hand, it doesn't hurt to have a legitimate heir, but I don't know. How old is my wife? 29? Yeah, I should probably get on that. But she is lustful, so that should hope... Oh yeah, and she's pregnant, so hopefully that gets fixed relatively soon, although she wants a daughter, so I'm a little worried. What about the history nerds? God, I'm not going to appeal to the history nerds at all. I know almost... I'm okay with ancient times. Contemporary history, well, if they're... That's a bit of a... That's an awkward term. I'm okay with more contemporary things, but for the Middle Ages, I know almost nothing. Oh, this is interesting. I actually haven't noticed some of these options in here, so I should actually take a closer look. But I'm going to roll this back a little bit and talk about... So one of the things that I introduced in the previous in the previous week in terms of starting off this playthrough, which is how do you start managing this ridiculous amount of information that the game throws at you. And again, I first talked about simple things. I mean, again, with the econ background, I am kind of concerned with the visual depiction of information, visual depiction of data. So again, most people are going to have a very simple decision that they make in this game, which really can sort of be used to inform everything else that they do, which is this map tells you almost nothing useful. You know, the land is greener than the north than it is in the south. Everybody knows what the world looks like. Everybody has seen globes from kindergarten. So you make the decision to go to a screen that gives you a little bit more useful information. You know, who owns what is a really nice way of looking at things. That's not what you're going to use all the time. Sometimes you'll use diplomatic relations, you'll use religion. Maybe you want to see what your empire should look like as opposed to what you actually have. All of these different things are going to, like, you're going to run into each of these screens as they come up with necessity. But basically it's just a question of saying what's important to you right now. By default, I figured the actual Independent Realms screen is the most useful. Now, that doesn't require a whole lot of brain power to say, okay, I'm going to take a look at the colored map versus, you know, what the terrain looks like. But just, you know, take that logic and apply it a little bit further, which is to say, it's like, okay, I want to take a look at my individual ruler. Is there anything that I'm concerned about right now? Well, for me, I kind of look at this children's section, I say, I really don't have any good heirs. I mean, I've got Pepin Carling, but that's not actually... that's not my kid. That's my brother's kid. Oh, hang on. As long as I roleplay, it's all okay, but not okay. Yeah. Terrain map mode, most useless map mode ever. It looks okay. By the way, sorry guys for being... Cloud9 fanboy, how's it going? Sorry, I'm really bad at catching up with chat tonight, but that's just because I kind of wanted to get... I sort of wanted to get kind of the house cleaning out of the way to say it's like how am I going to be making decisions in this game, and how am I going to deal with the current problem that I face, which is my demand size and the number of vassals. It may not even be the best solution that I have, but it's just giving you an idea of kind of getting a systematic way of working through a game like this. Eventually, of course, as you play it, as you develop your own play style, you're able to take shortcuts, right? You can say it's like, okay, I don't need to go to the character screen and see what's going on. You know, I just shorthand. You know, I know I'm always going to strip titles from vassals that I imprison or something like that. But when you're starting off and learning a game, it certainly doesn't hurt to just kind of go one step at a time. Again, you've got the pause button, you can use it liberally. I certainly do, and part of that's just to chat with you guys. You know, it doesn't hurt to take a minute to think about what you're doing, especially in Iron Man, where once you kind of, you know, once you commit to a decision, sometimes it's not great to, you know, to roll back on it, so... Oh, your name was Zombie Nerd. Okay, that's great, Cloud9. Thanks Thanks for letting me know that. I'm really bad at recalling names, but usually if I see something in chat, it's gonna... There's a small flicker in the back. So I do remember you from the channel. I'm sorry you lost your account, but I'm glad that you came back. Actually, you might have been here as a Cloud9 fanboy once before, were you? So just try to play historically, roleplay as such. 100 years later, you look at the other side of the map, and all the Muslims take over France or something. Yeah, I mean, this is the appeal of the game. Like, it's... Thank you, Cloud9 fanboy. Thanks for the follow. I guess thanks for the follow again. But of course, the numbers will always reflect the total number. Oh, you haven't been here before. Okay, fair enough. I know I've got some Cloud9 fans, at least as far as the Dota 2 team is concerned, amongst my friends. So maybe I always assume overrepresentation of Cloud9 fandom in my chat. Anyways, I got sidetracked. Again, the best way, what's the most important thing to everybody? Me. Specifically me, System Chalk, no. You look to yourself. Sometimes you want to look at your strengths, although obviously having advisors is going to, is going to mitigate a lot of these, these individual either benefits or failings that you may have. But more importantly, this line here is going to give you an idea of your troop strength. If you didn't notice it from the upper bar here, you can say it's like, all right, I need to be paying attention to my domain size, my vassal limits. And then just general, it's a good overview in terms of what you're looking at. I sort of cheated a little bit by going to my council already, so I kind of replaced a few people. Notice I haven't done anything with my Spymaster yet, and likewise with my Chancellor, because I sort of need to figure out what my next couple of moves are going to be as far as sorting out my realm, so I'm sort of reserving the option for these guys. Can't change any of the laws. The biggest thing that I want to do is move away from Gavelkind succession, but I can't actually put in something like primogeniture until I have high crown authority, which is going to take me a while. Not only do I need to have medium crown authority, which I can't change this generation, you can only change the crown laws once in your lifetime, but I need to have a legalism of 3. So if you take a look at my technology, I currently have a legalism of 1. It's going to be a very long time before I can actually make any of these important changes. So I get used to the undesirable, but unfortunately quite necessary succession law. So once I move from myself, the council is not a bad place to go, just so that you can... In this case, this is where you just start focusing, maybe not necessarily on, you have to have a mind about your overall strategy in the game when you're in the screen. But the nice thing that you do is you actually subdivide your kingdom in terms of the different specializations that your council has. So in this case, the fact that I haven't deployed my Chancellor yet kind of says that right now I don't have a very clearly defined diplomatic goal. Now, it could be that I want to fabricate claims in Brittany. It may not be the best use of my Chancellor because, of course, if I can find a better way of raising the money, then I create the empire and then I just invade that territory without bringing up the CB. Maybe I just want to try and invade Lombardy instead or something like that. But right now I don't have a very clearly defined diplomatic goal. For my Marshal, my commitment here to military research rather than training is sort of saying, I don't actually plan on going to war anytime soon. This could actually prove to be a mistaken assumption because, again, I need to get over my my vassal limit problems, otherwise I'm not going to have that impressive of an army. So I'm actually also making a bit of a commitment here, saying that I expect to fix this. If I don't fix this, then I'm actually in a worse position than I would have been before. My steward is a little bit more self-explanatory. I'm definitely not building infrastructure right now. It might be wise, but I just simply don't have the money for it. I've got other priorities, so right now I just need to bring in as much cash as I can, and that's going to translate to collecting taxes. Again, I've got my Spymaster. Certainly there's use for them. If I take a look at my factions, I certainly have not ridiculous threats yet, but certainly credible threats emerging. So this is a little bit more of a reservation. What would be ideal would be to study technology, but that's probably not going to be happening for a while. And then finally, my court chaplain. The proselytize isn't necessarily the best of the options, but again, I just want to lower my chances of rebellion. So if I can eliminate the Slavic and the Germanic religions from my borders, probably better that I do that sooner rather than later, and then I can just start researching cultural tech once I've achieved those goals. Well, DJ Krug said it. We were seducing her, and she vanished. So all of a sudden, our seduction options vanished too. It was a bit of a shame. So, oh, and Cloud9 fanboy, actually, so you say that you specifically watched the stream and chat in it. So I really appreciate that you expanded the Twitch viewership in the name of participating in this chat. I'm sorry, not doing a better job of responding to you. I really appreciate that, though. T. Clark was watching an EU4 stream and the map was a mess. Haiti consisted of like half of North America. Mexico went for Central America to clear up into Alaska. Well, that's the fun too. Like the alternate history side is neat. I like the fact that they actually give you some sort of historically inspired events, but they give you enough kind of twists and turns to it to run through it. I mean, in the end, it has to be a game. It has to be entertaining. But I like the fact. I think they do as good of a job as you can expect from a game. To give you credible historical scenarios, but still allowing you to sort of do your own thing. I know we talk about open world games quite a bit in this chat. Usually, I don't wind up looking very good when we have these conversations, but I actually think this is not a bad way of doing it. Like in the end, my ambitions are my own. I could have just played a count somewhere. I could have been the Count of Paris. Perfectly happy that way. Just leave me alone. I don't have any ambitions to be a ruler any higher than that. As long as I keep bringing in my prestige and piety, I can have a perfectly satisfactory game as that smaller entity. Maybe not so for Europa Universalis 4. Obviously, if you play a smaller political entity, you're probably going to get gobbled up by an empire, which is clearly a little bit more of a reflection of the times more than anything. But in this case here, I think it gives you... Number one, it nudges you in the right place, and to different play styles as well. So if you find achievements appealing, then you can set your goals in line with the achievements. If you prefer role-playing, be that historical role-play or be it, this weird House Rose story that I came up with, either of those options will allow you to inform your decision-making. So in that sense, the openness of the game appeals to me. But they've kind of constrained it a little bit, which is, for instance, if you're playing Charlemagne and you invade Saxony, well, actually, I'm sorry, you don't have to be Charlemagne, but, invading Saxony is going to give you events that are unique to the invasion of Saxony as that particular culture. If I were to do that as England, I don't believe I would get the same events come up. So it's kind of neat that you have these different things that come up, and that's actually the really exciting thing about starting this new game is that I've got a whole new set of events that are going to occur to me. For instance, switching from the Frankish culture to the French culture, if I so choose. And again, these are all unique to this particular iteration of Crusader Kings 2, as opposed to playing a Muslim Caliphate or a Merchant Republic or something like that. Should convert to a heresy and make it the main religion. Well, that's sort of what's happening in the Byzantine Empire right now. They're currently iconoclasts. U4 is being weird for you. You want to do a Poland strong game? It's like, right click, what? Invade! Yeah. I still need to get a handle on EU4, but I was sort of slouching on in my description in terms of breaking up the game, but the nice thing that I like about going from the individual ruler to the council view is that in this case, yeah, you're taking care of multiple things, but in this case, you're slicing up your realm, not necessarily by geography, but by your different priorities. And the fact, how you allocate these advisors gives you a bit of an idea of where your maybe you have in the back of your mind what your priority is, and the allocation of that advisor is going to make your what may have been an implicit strategy for you explicit through that decision. So that's another way that you can sort of break down your priorities for the game. It never hurts to check any of these other menus here. Obviously, if I could increase crown authority, I would, because I like having a high crown authority. I don't see any benefit to lowering my feudal levies. Probably not strong enough to raise feudal taxation as much as I would love the money. So generally, I don't mess around with these options too much. I would also eventually like to change to agnatic cognatic succession. Let me just take a look here. I need to make my vassals like me more, and I need to reign for 10 years, so I won't worry too much about bringing the vassals on side until I have that 10-year goal. I don't have any technology to invest in. The game will inform you if you have it. My military is a mess right now, but that's just simply because of my vassal problem, which I will eventually get over. I can actually consider raising a little bit of cash at the moment, so I'm just going to go for the people who don't sufficiently hate me. So let's start with this. Wait a minute. So this is a guy who declared war on me, and for whatever reason I can't take this duchy from him. Well, without, you know, inspiring disdain, so I'll at least take him for the gold. Who does she belong to? Alright. Not interested in releasing her. And the rest of these guys have like a minus 100 opinion, so I'll just let them rot in my dungeons for a while. That happens in most games, though. You never see Catholics lose out to heretics. Sometimes. If you play the 1066 bookmark, the HRE Emperor usually becomes a heretic and causes havoc. Just get the gold. Is cash the only barrier for Empire? Well, I mean, raising cash isn't that big of a problem, but it's a question in terms of how I want to spend it, because I think creating a series of... I want to create every single one of these duchies over the playthrough. So to me, it seems to be a little bit better to create the duchies as I go, rather than just make the empire. Like, in the end, I don't see a major benefit to creating the empire right away. I'd rather kind of create each of the duchies and slowly parcel them out, and then, you know, take the opportunity to make the empire when I can. So, am I close to finish? I just started CPO, and what's after this? Do you mean like hosting, or like when I'm done this game? The HRE becomes a republic? That's bizarre. But yeah, so actually this is to answer your question too. So my intention actually is to make the Empire and to actually make the Holy Roman Empire. I believe you can do both. Let me just take a look here. So in order to achieve the Holy Roman Empire, I would need to become the King of Italy, so taking a trip to Lombardy. I'm not going to do that right away because I am currently married to Lombardy. I could actually get a... I'm not going to do this, but I'm just curious if I could get away with it. So it's possible I can get away with this this divorce. I would only do this when I'm feeling strong enough to actually seize the title. But you get an achievement if you divorce your Italian queen. What's next? So I've not actually seen... So I haven't seen Embrace the Carolingian Renaissance. In our realm, Latin ways and words are increasingly melding with our Germanic heritage. This tendency is seen above all in learned text and matters of state and religion. Perhaps we should take the step in earnest and promote this cultural change. Oh, so we all become French. Sure. Oh yeah, CPO Williams. We finished last week. Not only did we finish the House of Rose playthrough, we got the Hammer of Britannia, which is an amazing character. But W Shand hosted us, so we had like 133 people come into the channel and watch us play. Watch us play Crusader Kings 2. So we started a Charlemagne playthrough, and I wound up in a situation where I have too many vassals and too many holdings. So I kind of need to work my way through that before I finish the unpause button. But we've had what I consider to be at least amusing diversions, just in terms of different ideas and talking a little bit about how to strategize through this game. So I didn't actually know that there was an event that allowed you to convert. So neat. Actually, I'm just curious how far that goes. Where's my culture button? All of them probably will say no because of the differences in culture. Yeah. So it'd be cool if I could just vassalize these guys rather than invade, but I think getting the Empire will give me the CBs that I need for that. Let's see if there's any other interesting things. I can obviously borrow 300 from Jewish merchants if I wanted to create... so if I wanted to create the Empire, I could do that right away. The challenge is that that removes that option for hiring mercenaries, so I don't necessarily want to do that. If I didn't want to do the distribution of titles myself, I could always get a character to do that for me, but I don't see a huge advantage in doing so, if I'm perfectly honest. So I've danced around this long enough. Now I actually need to roll up my sleeves and figure out how I am going to distribute these titles. So first thing I want to do is just kind of take a look at the different duchies and see what I can do with them. First thing is we've talked about how I want to make my capital Paris eventually. My current capital is Vermandois. I don't know. I'm terrible at pronunciation. Give my heir some land and create a duchy for him. The AI the AI distributes terribly. I would never use the AI unless I was completely bored. It's almost 5 a.m. for you, but you really want to watch the stream? Oh, sorry, DJ Crew Crusader. I don't think I've been making... I don't think this has been worth like a 5 a.m. sleepless night. I'll try and pick this up for you. So I kind of am automatically committed to the idea of holding the Duchy of Valois. Now, the big question is, do I actually have it? I don't think I do. Nope, I've got Aquitaine. I have got Franconia. And I've got Upper Lorraine. I call myself French. I'm definitely not French Canadian. I'm Canadian Canadian. English Canadian. I know a very, very small amount of French. I am trying to get better by writing my friend in Paris letters, but there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, and so sitting down and actually dedicating the time to learning French, even though there are actually career reasons for me to do that, working in government in Canada, it's strongly recommended to have... most positions it's mandatory to be bilingual, but even for the ones that don't, you are generally better off to... to have the two languages anyway. But again, I mean, spending the time learning French is times that I can't read other stuff. Like, I've been... I went back to some of my old issues of Foreign Affairs. I've been reading about solar power, which is... I mean, obviously, it's not like solar power is anything new, but it's really cool. So... you pick... I don't know, you pick your battles, I guess is the way to look at that. Alright, so I'm tempted to give away the Duchy of Franconia. The reason here is, so Mainz has... I don't know if this bishop would actually count. Well, I guess he's a count, so... But basically, I wind up getting rid of 4 vassals doing this. So I suspect Pepin is not actually going to be our heir. But let's arrange a betrothal for him. None of these options are great, so we will not arrange a betrothal for him. And apparently I can't give him land. Oh, it's because he is... not mine. Never mind. So... the other Pepin. He's got Lyon right now. Actually, he's got 2. So what duchy is this? Okay. I believe I can create that duchy. So here's the first way that I'm gonna deal with this. In this case, it costs it gives me 200 prestige, costs me 156 gold to create this duchy. And I give it to my bastard. So just keep an eye on this number here, 44 to 33. Or sorry, 44 out of 33. Hand that over. Oh, am I really gonna have to unpause? Okay, I'll do one quick unpause just because I'd like to get the money from the Duke anyway. Oop, I have a new heir. If your character dies, you'll now play as Richard Carling. It's good timing. So, son was born to Charles of West Francia, and hey, I said it right, or at least right according to chat. And Queen Delferada of West Francia. Maybe I'll say Francia once and then Francia. So, named Richard. Ruin my job by being... Well, I do live in New Westminster, which actually has probably an underappreciated, but actually a fairly significant Francophone culture. So, it's not actually... For somebody who isn't in Quebec, that's actually not necessarily a bad comment to make. But yeah, I'm not bowing the knee to the Pope. I wear that kinslayer with pride. I did just give land to the bastard. Alright, see you, DJ Cool Crusader. Alright, can I marry him off to somebody cool? I actually kind of need to think about, in the next couple of... I need to think about the next couple of turns. I suspect... So, I'm of two minds of this. It'd be kind of nice to see if I could get some kind of alliance with the Byzantine Empire to deal with Lombardy, but the catch of that is... I also don't really want to start mixing religions this early on. Bavaria isn't exactly something I'm not crazy about. I'll do a little bit of window shopping and see if there's anybody interesting. Or actually, I guess... I don't really see how there'd be any very impressive ranks. Okay, I was wrong. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother betrothing him. I think I need to wait a little bit closer to the time. But in this case, I'll get away with giving my... Wait, why can't I give away the duchy? Oh, it's because I probably don't have any of the lower titles. Okay, that's a shame. So I guess I'll find the vassal who hates me the least. Probably this guy. Nope, negative 32. But they hate me even more. So in this case, I'm going to... I actually honestly do not know why my vassal count didn't change by giving away that duchy, but... what about Bohemia? Okay. I will make a brief so I actually really appreciate the new faces inside of chat and things like that. I don't think there's been anything too untoward happen, but there's going to be a couple of comments that I'll make just to make sure that everybody's expectations are kind of in the same place. I definitely like advice. I don't respond well if there is commands given in chat. The next thing I will say is comments along the lines of like, oh my god, did he really just do X, Y, or Z? I don't tend to time people out, but I generally don't have a lot of tolerance for those. So I appreciate that definitely there are different ways of playing the games, and there are people who know quite a bit more about the games that I play than I do. So I definitely don't mind. I mean, again, as with anybody, I think it's important to have a sense of humor about yourself. I very much know my limitations as far as these games go. So as long as everybody keeps them in a good spirit and a humorous nature, I'm okay with it. As long as suggestions remain suggestions instead of commands, I'm okay with that. But I figure I should probably just get that out of the way before I go too much further. And obviously, if that's not what you're looking for in a Twitch stream like that, I apologize. I can't fit that. I definitely can't be the kind of stream for everybody. But I thought I should maybe get those expectations taken care of before we get too much further on the playthrough. Alright, so I'll give this away. Unfortunately, I didn't really lose that much as far as my vassal limit's concerned. I did lose a steward, though. No, that's totally fine. Again, I'm really clear, Rune. It's like I don't like saying things passive-aggressively. So when I say that there hasn't been anything untoward, like I mean that. Like I'm not saying that there's anything in chat that sparks that. But now that I'm actually at the point where I'm handing out titles and things like that, and there's been like if you scroll through channel, there's been quite a few suggestions. They're actually good ones. But it just occurred to me that this is going to be a point where like people, like anybody who wants to see a masterwork Crusader Kings 2 playthrough is going to wind up very disappointed in the next 15 minutes. So I figured it'd probably better to just get that out of the way at the beginning. And inevitably I see a drop in viewer count whenever I say something like that. But it's probably better that I set expectations at the beginning of a playthrough rather than you know, a bunch of people kind of just saying, well, this asshole doesn't know how to play Crusader Kings 2. Like, to give you context in terms of the stream, we had literally a beginning of the Old Gods playthrough where our capital remained in Westmoreland for the entire game. So, playing the game, quote-unquote, right is probably the bottom priority for this stream. Okay, see you, True Brute. Yeah, they could. I mean, they could work. The problem, I think, Bohemia has a Slavic. Yeah, they have a pagan religion. They're Slavics. So if I were to do anything, I would take. I mean, I'm related to this guy already, but the appeal to taking Bavaria is that I don't need to convert the population. If I take Bohemia, I need to convert. I need to convert them. What's their ambition? Gonna become king. Okay, fair enough. I can Holy War Bohemia, but getting more vassals isn't a good idea right now. Yeah, and I mean, Holy Warring isn't a good idea right now either, because I still don't have a very good military. Although, notice it's already recovered quite a bit by lowering my vassal count. CPO acknowledges me as the best of the one CK2 players that he knows. Alright, what else are we going to do on here? Just give me a quick second. Alright, so yeah, True Brute's gone. So, in terms of the dialogue that I was giving about expectations for the stream and things like that, that is the kind... It's a completely fine attitude to have on Twitch in terms of wanting to have the game, right? But the reason why I say things like I did in terms of what to expect as far as playthroughs and things like that is specifically to avoid the kind of viewer who wants to be a very game-centric cast. There are people who do that format very well, but in my own case I have... And sorry to dwell on this again, but I kind of need to be conscious in terms of audience and things like that. So obviously for the case of somebody like True Brute, this wasn't the kind of cast for him. One of the things that prevents me from being a very game-centric cast is definitely paying attention to chat is something that's going to take away my ability to play the game. So if you've seen me play Risk of Rain on this stream, it's a disaster. I've unlocked quite a bit in that game. I play the game relatively well on my own time. As soon as I play it on stream, inevitably it goes to pot, which is fine because I love sharing the experience with you guys. But also the idea of like making a lot of progress in a single playthrough. There's a lot of chat in this on this channel, and I like that. I definitely get a lot more out of interacting with all of you guys. But the comments again were not so much directed to a specific thing that was said inside of chat there, but you kind of know who's potentially going to be a problem in the future. So even if you can't give a name to it directly. Hopefully that gives people a little bit of reassurance that I couldn't have at the time. Alright, so I don't have any more duchies to give away. I do have duchies to create, but I should probably... One thing that would be good is to sort of figure out which of these counties I want to give away and create duchies around that. So, Gelry? There's 3 titles attached to that. Oh, but it's already owned by somebody. Oh, I have this entire... What? That doesn't make any sense. Do you have another duchy that I don't know about? Oh, that's the kingdom. Okay, fair enough. And no, I don't want to create... See, somebody said there's a more direct way to access this, but I always find I have to type the title in. So that'll cost me 156 gold. I think I actually need to wait for my... vassal. So, There's a little bit of a question here, which is, do I... The challenge with this is that I can give all of these away, and I solve my... well, pretty much solve my demand size problem, but I don't solve my vassal problem. So actually creating this duchy isn't the best plan at the moment. So let's assume that I want to keep those titles for the time being, at least. I could probably get rid of Carcassonne. Yeah, exactly. Like, I was gonna say, I have learned quite a bit about this game from things that people have mentioned in chat, and, sorry, this is to what Room Broder said, but I think it's a sentiment that's been expressed a couple of times in chat already, is that if you, I've gotten a lot out of streaming Crusader Kings 2 simply because people are really good at sharing information about the game. So, like, for instance, I was complaining about having to pick each and every single fleet to reduce it. By the way, hi, Hilgrin. I don't think I've seen you. Your name is similar to somebody who's been here before, but I think this is the first time I've seen you here. Actually, there's a few of you who are first-timers here, so welcome. Sorry it's such a slow start, but we did start a brand new game, and again, I try to do introductory stuff because I'm largely learning the game myself. But I think there's a difference between giving advice or, you know, making a recommendation in terms of what you do, and then turning a stream into a chat-activated controller. I'm very good with the former, and it's enhanced my experience of Crusader Kings, and the second one is a non-starter for me. So, again, I try to be very direct in terms of, you know, explaining how I feel about things like that. But I also, I recognize, like, it means that I don't get as many viewers as, you know... Obviously, everybody wants to be the biggest stream on Twitch or something like that. But I kind of recognize that I... for my temperament or for my priorities, it's not a style that appeals to everybody, so... I should stream a CK2 multiplayer game with a Roomba? He would kick my ass. Click the de jure box? I don't quite know what you mean, Cloud9 fanboy. System Chalk, yeah. Alright, I think I'm just going to give him Carcassonne. It's not the best way to handle this, but it's, it at least gets one title off my hands. So I only have 3 to get rid of. I still don't have a good idea about how to lose my duchies. Or sorry, which duchies to create and how to lose them. Oh, this is what you're talking about, right? You know, it's maybe the inefficient way, but I just prefer searching for it. Alright, so this already exists, unfortunately. Wait a minute. This is the Duchy of Upper Burgundy, and this is the Duchy... Am I going crazy? Oh right, this is the guy who I've imprisoned. That probably took a lot longer than I needed to. Alright, let me just... What's the best way to clear out as many of these things as I can? You know what, I think I'm just gonna unpause the game and at least get the money in. Alright, so I can do another ransom. I feel like Northern Lion brings those guys up with him. Like, he's not the best at the games, but he's good at straight. Yeah, see, I don't watch a lot of Northern Lion, and it's mostly because I know him more from YouTube rather than... I know from YouTube a little bit more than from Twitch, but I noticed that he does a lot of Europa Universalis. And I think there's... Like, to me, there's definitely a very big difference between the play... Like... There is good, like, okay, there are people who play the game well, so, like, I really like Dota 2, and there are people who I watch specifically for their skill at Dota 2, but I'll be the first to say, as big of a fan as I am of those personalities for their playstyle, I don't watch them at all for their personality. In fact, some of them I just generally would wish they'd shut up. Now, I mean, I've heard enough comments about my voice that, you know, I will say that I have a completely unearned and minor advantage as far as broadcasting is concerned, because I have a voice that at least some people find well, when I say attractive enough, like appealing enough for a stream. So in that case, that and combined with my more academic background, at least as far as econ is concerned, it seems to me that the better format would be, you know, would be one to kind of talk about the game, talk about decision-making procedures, rather than attempt to be something I'm not, which is, you know, a quote-unquote professional gamer. Alright, so I get a chance to... Well, I mean, I can give away the titles, but everybody hates me because I've imprisoned them. One thing that I do like about this, so there's... I have two minds about this strategy that I employ here. So, I mean, this is an obvious option because, you know, this guy owns all the territory, but I've imprisoned him because he went, he rebelled against me. Now, there's he's got a negative 31 opinion. Now, I changed that, of course, by granting a landed title, but one of the other things I like this is that it creates a conflict between these two people. So, in this case here, the drawback, of course, is that I'm only going to lose 2 vassals as a result of... Or, sorry, actually, I'm only going to lose 1 vassal because this guy owns 3 territories. But what I like is, of course, he is the owner of the duchy, is going to want these territories, and this guy, because he has the majority of territory, is going to want to try and claim the title from him. So in this case here, I have less to fear about factions because these guys are potentially fighting each other. Of course, if they fight each other too much, then they're not going to have any levies to give me. And generally, this has tended to work out for me in the past, though, so I do still like the idea of passing on these titles. And again, I'm at 41 out of 33. So realistically, I've burned through a lot of cash. I'm probably not going to actually achieve the vassal limit that I would like, but I am going to take the small risky step of borrowing from Jewish merchants just so I still have a little bit of cash coming in from these ransoms, but I'll at least maximize what I can get as far as title creation is concerned. So do we have any obvious ones when I take a look? I'll just zoom out a little bit and take a look at the list that I have here. I'm definitely not making Gelra because I own all of that. I think I'm just gonna go in alphabetical order and see what what do we get with Luxembourg? Actually, that's a tempting one. Let's make it. Oh yeah, sorry, Close. I think you said this before, Cloud9, that looking for horse lords. I'm definitely not expelling the Jews. Wait, CPO can never unsee that pick of me at the... Oh, that's the one with me reaching into the popcorn, right? Wait, Heretic Stronghold? That doesn't make any sense. Does this game know something I don't? Alright, so I'm just going to go over my vassals and see which ones like me. The bishop is a little bit of a risky proposition because I don't know what's going to happen with the next one. This guy has the highest opinion of me. Let me just make sure that's in the proper duchy. And we'll we'll give him Luxembourg. So this should hopefully change my vassal limit by a somewhat substantial amount. 39, okay, not bad. I think I have enough money to make one more of these duchies, so... Lower Lorraine. I think I also have titles in here. Okay, well I have an obvious guy to give that over to, so let's... Oop. Sorry to ask, but have I stepped up my game in the last month or so? The stream is great. I probably couldn't answer that objectively, Runebroder. I would definitely say... So first of all, thank you very much for the compliment. You know, I'm never really good at taking comments like that. So, I mean, I'm still a very new streamer. Crusader Kings is something that I kind of started on a lark. I wanted to learn it a little bit more, so I've been streaming it once a week over a period of a couple of months. So I have to suspect I've become better from the since the first time that I started doing it. As to whether or not I'm doing anything in particular, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the one thing that I try to do every stream is to communicate with people as best as I can. I think especially with games like this, where people are maybe on the fence in terms of whether or not they, you know, whether or not they want to buy it, whether or not they want to watch it, whether or not they would recommend it to a friend or something like that. I think even if you're not very good at the game, being able to justify your actions will at least give people, you know, the story about what not to do, maybe. So, I think the best I can really expect of myself is to show up every day and try to do my best to broadcast to people. As to whether or not I've stepped up my game recently, I guess I kind of need to leave that to the viewers, whether or not people feel that. Create an empire and conquer Italy, create Frisia and Burgundy, take over the world, easy. Well, I definitely intend to create the Holy Roman Empire. Let me actually just take a look at what my military is sitting at. Yeah, I'm at... notice again, where we were talking about this problem of military, almost completely eradicated just by handing out a few duchies. Would I have preferred to give them to family members? Yes, but my family isn't big enough right now. So, as a secondary measure, I'm just kind of creating titles where they seem to make sense. I've also got a boatload of prestige right now, so... You just thought my mic was better, and also I think you've gotten better at the game and commenting on it. Oh, well, thank you very much for saying so, Runebroder. I can definitely say I've gotten better at the game simply because, you know, when I started, I literally... I knew enough not to, like... I knew enough not to crash into the ground, basically. But beyond that, I'm not sure. As far as my mic quality is concerned, I don't recall. I definitely do have an Audio-Technica 2020 now, AT2020. I've had that for a while, but it's always, like, I'm really bad, especially, like, for my last month of my undergrad while I was doing the thesis, like, I don't have any sense of time anymore. Like, it just, for a while, all of it was running through stats programs, and, you know, trying to survive. So I'm not so good at recalling where these some of this stuff comes from. CSS, not CS:GO. I actually don't have Counter-Strike Source. I do have CS:GO. I don't have. I have a streamer that I mod for. Ponce is doing a LOL stream right now. I don't play it that often myself. I play a little bit more Dota just because it's the first game that I got into. But 1.6 is better than Go. Yeah, I'm terrible at Counter-Strike. I'd like to play it a little more often. I'd like to get better, but the same could be said of a lot of games that I play. Okay, so either I need to ransom some more prisoners. I don't think new titles is worth expelling the Jewry. And I've got a fairly strong army, so I have new diplomatic goals. This actually raised... Okay, so... Remember, of course, when we were talking about how we want to break down our priorities. So, I've kind of pursued as much as I can of this vassal limit. Actually, I guess I should give away a few of these... I can give away these three counties as well. But I'll jump on that in a sec. I mean, what I probably should have done is... What's it gonna cost to make this title? $156, so I'm waiting a while for that. I think I'll just give this to my son. We've never... That's right, we haven't played CSGO together yet. Sorry about that. If you think Go is worth playing, I've never played... I've actually played 1.6. Need help surviving... Oh, sorry, it's a whisper. CPO Williams, definitely I can give you that advice. Did you want me to give it to you live, or did you want something general that I can tell you right now, or were you thinking about kind of chatting after the stream? So Cloud9 Fanboy, I think we need to work out a time to do some CSGO together, because I know I've not been good on that. I know my upcoming week is... I've got a lot of co-casts that I'm doing, so on Saturday or Sunday there's going to be that stream I do with Tony Loran. But how about you send me a Twitch message or a Steam message, and we can work out something. Okay, sounds good, CPO Williams. Yeah, I'm happy to help. My advice may not lead you to success, but it'll hopefully lead you to at least survival. Okay, so I know I'm already going to give these away to my heir, so how about I give him Friesland and Ostfriesland? Oh, really? I can't give him a second one? Drat. So much for that idea. What else can I get rid of? I'm trying to look for titles that are actually already part of existing duchies. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of those. Actually, it doesn't seem like there's any of them. Okay, so what I'm going to wind up doing instead, this isn't ideal, but I am going to run by with a couple of extra duchies and a couple of extra vassals for the next little bit. That's just so I can raise money. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the rest of the vassals and duchies by creating these titles and distributing them. So, can't Steam message if we aren't friends? Okay, we'll tell you what, Cloud9, if you want, send me a friend. I've actually opened, so it occurred to me after I got a couple of levels through the Steam sale that, ooh, except paying ransom. Okay, good, we got some cash coming in. So I've got a few more spaces on my friends list than I thought, so if you want to send me a friend request, I'll accept them. Obviously, I say that with caution to everybody, because if I need to clear out space, the Twitch followers are going to be the first to go. Sorry to say. Oh, that sucks. Am I going to have to revoke this from him? Alright, looks like I'm sitting... That's a major blunder on my part. So what I was thinking of doing was just creating the duchy and giving it off to him, but apparently he can't hold it for one reason or another. So now I'm going to be sitting on too many duchies and... and too many counties. How's that going to hurt my... So I lost 1,000 troops for that. I'm still going to sit on it for a while. My opinion is going to fall as a result, but hopefully I can get by. But yeah, so if you want to add me on Steam, I'll basically auto-accept anything that comes through. My caveat to everybody is obviously I like having as many people as I can on the list. If it gets too full at some point, I will I'll have to do a couple of cuts. Please don't take it personally. Permanent contact can be established through the Steam group. And of course, if you don't want to contact through Steam, Twitch, Twitter, the Steam group, all of these things are available as well. So, for all the effort that I put into... Hang on, I need to allocate my council. So for all the effort that I tried, one blunder here in Gelra. Hey, there's Cloud9 fanboy. Sorry, I forgot to turn off those alerts. I'll add you after the stream. Can't I grant a duchy to death? I really don't get why I can't give this to him. There has to be some reasoning for it. It might just be because of his regency or something like that, but... I think a vice... Yeah, viceroyalty... I think I need to be an empire for that. Yeah, viceroyalty. So you can do that for duchies and you can do that for kingdoms, but I believe you need to be an empire. Okay, so I'm thinking the way that I can handle my next set of priorities. So I mean, again, it wasn't a perfect implementation. I still have 5 vassals I need to get rid of and 2 titles. The biggest drawback is that I'm going to have some fairly heavy penalties to opinion. I can mouse over this. And too many held duchies, so a -10 that I'm suffering for that. And then... Actually, I thought it would be a -20, so I got off lucky there. And then I thought I was going to be suffering for having too many counties, or my demand is for being too big. But it seems like I'm just suffering inefficiencies as far as money is concerned, rather than anything else. So my opinion modifiers aren't as bad as I thought that they were going to be. So, at this point, I was going to say, it's not the perfect implementation, but it's better than having 44 out of 33 vassals and 11 out of 7 demesnes. So, could I have done better? Probably. But right now I need to worry about kind of recovering that money. I need to repay the Jewish moneylenders. I need to make some more titles so I can get my vassal limit under control. But at this point, I'm kind of ready to move forward with my kingdom. So, first thing I'm thinking is we do have a larger goal of creating the... we have a larger goal of kind of creating the Holy Roman Empire. I also have sort of an intermediate goal of creating the Frankish Empire. So in this case, that means I'm going to gain casus belli on these 4 provinces in Brittany. So there's 2 things that I can think about, which is I can think of the long-term finances and long-term goals of the empire, or I can consider my intermediate goals. These guys can get swept aside with my military very easily. So in one sense, I could say, well, I can fabricate claims on these 4 provinces and just quickly, gobble them up. But what this also translates into is a loss of prestige and a loss of gold at a time where I'd actually prefer to be increasing them. So these are sort of small-term gains that I can kind of get a little bit later on. Like, in the end, the levy for this is 382. So do I really want to spend that gold, and do I really want to spend that prestige to get such a small gain? Not really. Lombardy, on the other hand, is actually something that, once I take the kingdom, is something that'll allow me to make a major move, namely creating the Holy Roman Empire. That on its own is probably going to take quite a bit. It says I need 189.5. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But in this case here, this is a goal which I don't have an immediate answer for. I don't believe I have any forthcoming claims. Let's just see what he's looking at. Well, what are his daughters? Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's people who are going to be in line before me. So, I'm just going to brute force it, and I will send my chancellor off to fabricate a claim. The worst is I wind up angering this king. The best is I get the claim that I want, and I can declare war. Again, if I take a look at his force, he's at 4,000. Now, I want to be careful because there is a penalty for me attacking an ally, but I can always divorce her if the time comes. Oh, right now it says I won't get that. I don't quite know what changed, but I'll worry about that when it comes to it. I can't give him a lot of titles with Gavelkind. Okay. Can I take the king? Do you mean like Lombardy? Oh, do I already have a claim? My god, I do. Where'd I get that claim from? Alright, well I wasted my chancellor in that case. So I guess the question is, do we go to war? What are his allies like? So he would bring Bavaria in, which I'm not too worried about. Or potentially bring Bavaria in. What are my other claims? You know what? Fortune favors the bold. I think we run with this. So I need to keep in mind on my factions, because once I start losing troops, that's going to be a problem. So as much as I'd love to use my Spy Master to steal technology, I think I need to worry about squishing factions. And let's start. It's part of the story, fair enough. You guys waited for a couple of hours for some action, so let's do this right. Oh, you know what? I kind of said I was going to divorce my wife, didn't I? Oh well. We'll divorce her after the fact. Oh yeah, I gotta make sure that I'm not gonna starve my troops to death. Yeah, we're fine. One of the things I was considering too is trying to go for Saxony, but I guess historically Charlemagne did take Lombardy first. So your loyal knight Roland is truly distinguishing himself on the campaign. He never fears to lead from the front in battle. He fires up his soldier with personal bravery, and he's always first into the fray and last to withdraw. Where outriders are needed for dangerous scouting missions, he insists on going, often being away for days behind enemy lines. If only all your soldiers were this brave and dedicated. A model knight indeed. He gains 30 prestige. This is why I should start as a count or at least a duke. Yeah. Alright, well my vassals already hate me for expecting them to actually do what they've committed to. So this is a bit of an example so some of these duchies got distributed in the previous game. So Duke Atto of Franconia has usurped the title of Duchy of Franconia. The idea here is that there is a little bit of deliberate conflict that's being created between my vassals here. again, it's a double-edged sword because it does mean that your forces are a little bit weaker than they should be. But it does... But, I mean, the weaker... So, the weak vassals works for you in the sense that your factions against you are potentially weak, but it also... Sorry, it works for you in the sense that your potential factions are less of a threat, but potentially works against you because your vassal levies may not be what they should be. In this case, I already double the value of the Italian troops, so I'm not as worried about that. In this case, I only have the option of threatening the vassals, so we go for that. Honored King, I ask your forgiveness if I have done something to offend. I obviously wouldn't dream of associating with any faction conspiring against you or your enlightened rule. Yes, Lombardy is... Well, I mean, just looking at it, I'll go geographic because everybody hates it, but... Oh, it's a little dark. Actually, let me just hit the brightness on my machine. I am sort of relying a bit on my my significantly larger troop size. Alright, good enough. So, the most appealing target is obviously to take the capital. And again, hopefully I don't starve anybody to death. I won't actually go the full way. I think I'll actually try Laging Siege to each of these provinces in between, unless I actually run into a unit on the way. Well, I could use... I could fabricate a claim, but let's just take the extra piety and find something new to do with my... Chancellor. He's actually also really effective at his job, so let's not come up with any CBs, and instead let's start trying to win hearts and minds. As far as my Spy Master goes, looks like the Independence faction is getting some teeth, so let's send him to Savoy. So again, the idea here is that eventually I'm going to start losing a lot of troops. 1949 men is not a lot to worry about, but it becomes a lot to worry about if I suffer some pretty devastating losses. And the last thing that I want is a rebellion to happen in the middle of my campaign for Lombardy. So, as much as I would love to get the extra technology, I'm going to play a little cautious and just keep squishing the potential factions before they come up. The cook prepared a fine meal, but the priest preached about temperance. I will satisfy my hunger with bread and water. Moderation is the key. I've gained the temperate trait. I wouldn't worry too much about... Oh, hang on, I am losing money. That's unusual. Collected a tithe in Westmoreland... Oh, sorry, in Vermont. It's not Westmoreland. It's not House Rose anymore. 32 gold. He's actually doing that fairly reliably as well, so... If I start getting a little too... Like, if I get too scared as far as budget is concerned, I still have a couple of prisoners that I can ransom. I don't think they're worth a lot. 70 gold and... Yeah, 70 and 70. I definitely go for this guy first, given that he hates me by 100. But in this case, he's also... He wouldn't actually be reporting to me. He would be reporting to another vassal who also hates me, so... No senpais? Ah, the Fraticelli heresy has appeared in the province of Rennes. So we will give up trying to stamp out Slavic religion in the name of dealing with our homegrown loonies. That is not the guy I wanted. Get back to Savoy, you haven't gotten rid of them yet. So I'm actually burning through a little bit more cash than I thought I was going to. I believe one of your vassals can be discouraged from associating with conspiratorial factions if the proper leverage is obtained. How do you wish to proceed? Well, I can only ask politely, so I'll ask politely. It's kind of nice that they're stacked up here. Again, I'm just going to continue region by region. Thank you for reminding me of my duties and obligations as your vassal. You are right, of course. For the foreseeable future, you have my promise not to support factions conspiring against you. I am not switching to a heresy. I'm actually quite interested to see if they attack me here. There's a lot more of them than I was planning, if I'm completely honest, but I'll wait for them to make their move. Ideally, they'll lose a little bit to the weather. And now we stomp them. We've gained a better understanding of military matters during this battle. Excellent. So again, a little bit of a scary encounter just because they're more evenly matched than I wanted. But I got what I needed out of that. So I'm going to split the forces in half. I'm going to take one to continue sieging, and the next is just going to wipe out the remaining amount of the... Oh, hang on. Are they still hanging out, or... Well, I need to take the larger amount anyway, so we're going to head to Saluzzo and just gobble up the rest of their units. So it obviously means kind of crossing over some rivers and things like that, but you can notice how high that increases the war score. In this case, they've got nothing they can do to defend themselves, and at this point I'm just going to constantly run them down and eliminate their group. So in this case, even though, again, they're fairer fights than I would want them to be, their morale is shattered. So in this case, it's just making sure that I keep the boot on the throat. And in the meantime, especially because I have a little bit of a budget constraint, I just keep sieging provinces, ideally heading towards the capital, so I can hopefully put this to bed pretty quick. A bastard can cause a lot of trouble, insisted Spymaster Count Engler, and advised me of a possible opportunity to get rid of the bastard in the court. I doubt a bastard child will cause any trouble. Gain the trait honest. I suppose I'd get a duchy I could give away, but probably best I don't kill my bastard. Count Ferald of Pembino was captured in my battle, is now my prisoner. So, going back to this theme of kind of how do you learn a game like Crusader Kings 2, and again, the stress that I want to place is, I believe this game is designed this way as well, is that you don't need to focus on all of this crazy stuff all at once. So, what you can do to... First of all, you make your job easier for yourself if you cut the game up into individual slices. So right now I have military concerns. You'll notice I've kind of been ignoring some of these notices in the top here. I kind of know what they are as well, just from the context of the events. Most of these I'm not as thrilled with. Let me just take a quick second here. You honest? Did I know that in wars destroying troops gives way more contribution than sieging, which is good in crusades and holy wars? I do know that, actually. And it's maybe anticipating some of the comments that I was going to make. So if you actually want to know what is contributing to your war score, because you notice that it's gone rocketing up from the battles, you can take a look. It's going to break it down at a very high level approach. So 62% of this war score comes from the battles, 19% comes from occupation, which you probably could have guessed looking at the map here, right? Like I only really have one province and I have half of it here. But you can also kind of put your mouse over and see specifically what battle gave you the most. So the Battle of Nizza, which is the one where we had the two evenly matched armies, 33% of the war contribution came from that. You'll notice that these other ones are in the single digits, you know, lowest at 3%, highest at about 8.17. So in this case, you sort of weigh it out as like I'm not going to dedicate a huge force to deal with these 39 troops just because in the end the contribution to the war score isn't going to be as much. In terms of the siege, 6.55% for occupying Genoa. Now, what I will note, let's maybe not worry about, let's take Nice. Right now this is owned by a Prince Bishop. If on the other hand I take the capital, this is owned by the ruler that I'm currently at war with. So in this case, if you take the personal holdings of the guy that you're at war with, it actually brings greater pain. Did you know that you can type observe in the console and not play as anyone? I actually didn't know that. That would be really interesting to watch. Well, I like seeing how the computer makes certain decisions. It doesn't mean that it's good. But I'd be kind of amused to watch one. Another thing about War Score is that sometimes the capture of certain political figures will actually give you a higher score as well. I believe if you capture a king, that automatically ends the war, but I think if you take like a relative of theirs, it goes up. So that gives you another incentive to sort of take the key provinces that they own, because there's the possibility that you kill them or you capture them. In this case here, like our war score is doing quite well because we beat their main force, and at this point now we're just gobbling them up. Looks like they're heading to Savoy, so that's where I go as well. And in the meantime, we're going to wrap up the invasion of Genoa. We move to Pavia. And the main reason why I took this particular route was just so I could avoid rivers. But at this point, I don't have to really worry that much because it's not like there's going to be an army that comes back. My liege, may your years be short and miserable. I have discovered a plot where Count Raudbert of Fürstenberg seeks to kill Count Valford of Vienne. I did notice the Observe channel. I wasn't sure if they had like a bot that was playing and they were showing off the ingenuity of this like this playing bot that they made, but I don't know. I was intrigued, but I didn't actually watch it for that long. Alright, so unfortunately, my efforts to root out heresy and convert the population have been met with resistance, and the peasants are arming themselves. I fear we might have a revolt on our hands soon, so that is a problem. Looks like a few counts are angry at me too, but they're not heretics. So there's not a lot that I can do about this, to be completely honest. The best thing to do... Oop, the prayers of Prince Bishop Tato have not gone unnoticed. Is there such a thing as a limit to my power? He's still a traitor. Lose 5 piety. That's right. Or traitor. I think the best option for me to deal with that potential rebellion is just to end this war. So in this case, I'm not going to recombine my troops until they've taken this province. What I will do, some more inheritance, which I can safely ignore. Another thing to note too is while your war score goes up from individual battles with units, usually laying siege to counties will give you a little bit of gold. So dividing your armies can be a very, very risky proposition sometimes, but it can actually be one that gives you a little bit more longevity if you're worried about money. In this case here, I don't have a lot to fear. The fall of the Avars. The Avar Cognate was established in Europe in 567. After the Avars had migrated to the Carpathian Basin from the east, they crushed the Gepids and allied with the Lombards to form a strong realm in the area. For long periods, they alternated between conflict and truce with the Eastern Roman Empire, had close dealings with the Lombard kings. Now, however, this once proud realm has fallen. The area is no longer ruled by an Avar dynasty and shall once again be known by the ancient name of Pannonia. Sic transit gloria mundi. I have no idea what any of this history is. This is a worry here. I didn't think that they were going to have such a large army. That's pretty much the rest of their forces, though. So I'm going to continue on the path. Ideally, we finish this siege sooner rather than later. No, it looks like they're committing, so... Oh no, they're heading here. They're probably going to take the... Actually, they're probably going to try and take this territory as well, so... In a similar spirit... This is a really tough call, because I'd like I'd like the money from taking these regions, but I suspect taking out 1,500 troops is going to... taking out 1,500 troops is probably going to give me the war score that I need, so... I'm just going to wait for them to commit to this siege. I'll actually maybe even finish this one myself. Count Engler of Blois has claimed... I'm not even going to pronounce... One count doesn't like another count is attempting to promote vile heresies. How should I use this information? Right now, if I take a look at my factions, they're getting to that 50% level, so in this case I'm going to threaten him with exposure unless he stays out of factions. Looks like they are heading elsewhere, so this is a bit of a shame. I am going to still wait out the siege. He laughed at the evidence, flat out refusing to stop meddling in political factionism. Oh well. So I'm going to finish off this siege. I'm probably going to be too late to catch them here. But at this point now I've got a near 6,000 unit force, which can put an end to them. I think I'm crossing a river at this point. I am. But, I mean, I have such an overwhelming advantage that it's not that frightening. It's impossible to try and get a hold of Princess Gisela. She always has some sort of excuse to get away from me, ignores me, or even hides from me. I'm not that scary, right? Think of all that Lombard gold you get when you win. Yeah. So I did cross a river for that, but we won. So, captured another Duke. We will hit pause. Now, I believe the problem with this is that I'm going to get a huge influx of vassals. So we'll enforce the demands. We've usurped the title of the Kingdom of Lombardy. We've now got 54 out of 34 vassals. And no gold. So, what do I do about this? My sister's a cutie. Is she single? So here's a question I'll give you, Cloud9 fanboy. If you want me to make the Holy Roman Empire, assuming I had the gold for that, what is the biggest advantage? If you leave for 30 minutes, will this stream still be going on? Yeah, we're quite early in the stream so far, so you can definitely feel free to do what you need to do, and we will be back. Hopefully entertaining you. If not entertaining you, then at least providing you a small diversion over the course of the evening. Freaking Twitch are stupid. We're gonna randomly log you out for no reason. Sorry to hear that, T. Clark. King vassals. I really do not like the idea of king vassals. I like the idea of viceroys. I don't like the idea of giving away a kingdom. So what am I looking at for gold? 25, 70, 70, 70. You know what, as much as I hate to do this, and this is going to cause some problems with factions, I think I'm just going to... Oh wait, can I actually seize titles? No. Yeah, so in this case I'm just going to ransom everybody so I can create some duchies. And again, there's a cost to this, right? Which is I'm going to suffer for having a bunch of vassals that hate me, but at this point I am at a point of stability in the empire. So I can dedicate more resources to creating these duchies, to keeping my spy master going through and stomping out these different factions. And The cost, of course, is that my my army is not as strong as it should be, but I also don't have an immediate threat that I need to worry about. I mean, you always kind of need to worry about your good Muslim neighbors. They've got 7,000, but again, this is something that I can solve. Once I reduce the number of vassals that I have, I'm going to be able to get my army back up. Yeah, I definitely want the Steam achievement, but nope. You just straight out get more vassals to work with. Frankie is cooler. Either way, Viceroys should work. Yeah, so I'd need to build the Empire in that case. Empires get a better tech rate, a little more domain. Create Empire, let vassals create the duchies. Isn't there a Carling, like a cousin or something, with a claim on Bavaria at the start? If you form the Empire and press it, you'll get Bavaria. So the de jure empires... Who is it? I know he's a cousin. Name everybody Bubba because you like this idea of an Emperor Bubba. Yeah, I'm not going to go with a ridiculous name. You'll notice I've not asked chat for names on this playthrough just because I'm going to try and at least be serious in names, if not through strategy. By the way, Carney, welcome. I don't believe I said hi to you yet, and same for Kintra666. So the question that I have, the reason why I was asking the question about the Holy Roman Empire is that right now we kind of saw how effective it was to create these duchies, which more of them can be made and quicker. So I'm a bit more inclined to pursue that strategy until I literally can't have any more vassals. At which point, I go back and I start getting some king vassals. I'm really hesitant to just start giving away kingdoms until it's absolutely necessary. Just because the last playthrough we had, we actually managed to get quite a bit of mileage out of keeping people as dukes. Glad to hear it, Carney. I will caution you, I'm definitely a little bit more... So, Crusader Kings 2 is not my primary game. I do it every Friday. So I definitely am a little bit more dialogue-oriented. I'm also very new to the game. We actually finished our first Iron Man playthrough last Friday. So in terms of overall strategy and that, there's probably not a whole lot that can be learned out of it. I'm definitely probably more of a stream, if I can be classified as anything, probably oriented more towards newer players because I'm very much learning the game as I go along. But with that in mind, I always think this is a bit of a value in terms of having somebody give voice to their decision-making process. Even if it's not the best decision-making process, at least it allows you to articulate how you would have done something different. If you divorce your wife and she goes to Bavaria, you get a claim. Well, I mean, I can divorce my wife to get the achievement anyway, but I think the Pope won't let me. Even after I conquered all that territory. So I think I can't change my focus yet. This is also the first time I'm playing the Way of Life expansion. Oh, I remember why the Pope doesn't like me now. It's because I borrowed from the Jewish moneylenders. That's why I'm not allowed to divorce her. You like Duke vassals too, even as an empire. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the nice thing about it too is that in the previous playthrough I played, which was definitely not a canonical Crusader Kings 2 game, it was really effective to have a very large number of weak vassals. Like, we had a lot of rebellions, but they were never really a credible threat, even when their absolute value in terms of manpower was greater than ours, just simply because they couldn't quite get organized enough in time. So I think what I'm just going to do here is my Spymaster is very effective, so I'm just going to have him running around through Metz. I'm not actually going to try and fabricate a claim on Bavaria. I think I'm just going to have my diplomat kind of work overtime in terms of trying to win hearts and minds. And I'm going to wait for these ransom notices to come through so I can start making a few duchies and see where we're left off at the end. I will create an empire. But at this point, the idea is just to try and get this man... I really need to get the vassal limit down as quickly as I can, just so I can have my manpower for conquest again. So we'll slow down the playthrough a little bit, just so I can watch the money come in. Blessings on you and your house. I accept paying your ransom for the safe return of Prince Bishop Tettle. Majesty, blessings on you and your house. I accept paying your ransoms for the safe return of Count Honald. Kingdom of Italy. The ancient Lombard kingdom was established in Italy after a long history of migration originating in northern Europe. Along the way, the Lombards themselves have changed, both influencing and becoming influenced by the regions they have settled. Now it has finally come to pass that the Lombard lands in Italy no longer have a Lombard ruler, and this effectively spells the end of the name of the Kingdom of the Lombards. We shall henceforth speak of the Kingdom of Italy, but the Lombard heritage shall live on. Hail to the king, baby. Give who land? Peace be with you, I accept return. Yeah, okay, so just more cash. Spymaster doesn't mince words. May your humors rot in your living body. I have discovered a plot where patrician Rodolphe de Genoa seeks to kill Count Lupul of Ferrara. Alright, I don't think I sent my... I think I sent my Spymaster to the wrong place, so we'll have to wait for him to come back. So I have a little bit of capital to work with, so in this case here it's just a matter of creating duchies. I really don't think there's a good way for me to do this until I can actually give my son this land, which may be never. I may have to die before I can actually give him that title. At this point here, I think I'm just going to click the button and hit create whenever I can. Well, no, actually, let's make French titles first. I really don't know how to read these screens. Alright, I'm just gonna go through alphabet. Alsace. So, if I'm completely honest, like, if I wanted to do the best playthrough that I could, I would go through every single one of these titles. I would figure out which has the largest number of individual vassals and make the duchies which will consolidate as many vassals as I can first. That strikes me as one of the most tedious ways that I could do this stream. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to do alphabetical order, prioritizing things that were in the original kingdom. The problem is that I'm still going to have way too many vassals. But in this case here, this kind of seems to be a good, kind of a good half measure to deal with it. So in this case, like, I'm only going to lose one. I'm only going to reduce my vassal count by 1. But I'll at least give the title to the person who hates me less. I might even consider giving away a couple of those counties that I have, but again, it'd still be ideal to kind of give away the titles. Actually, that cost a lot more money than I was expecting, so maybe I'll be a little bit more judicious in how I hand these things off. See, that's only going to get rid of 1, so I'll at least move until I have at least 2 vassals that I lose from that. I'll maybe move on. Where's Baden? They're all just 2. Maybe I won't get the option. So this one's tempting. So I'll consider Ferrara. Won't do Pisa. As cool as it would be to do the Empire, no. Not Berry, not Anjou. Oh, this is good. Alright, so we'll create the Duchy of Normandy. I suspect there's probably... Yeah, they hold multiple titles, so I actually won't lose as many vassals as I thought, but... Oh, really? I just only lost... Ah, that's so frustrating. I only got one vassal. Alright, fair enough. I'll take my lumps. I probably did nothing for my military. Yeah, 2,000 troops. That's a shame. Okay, so Aquitaine... You know what? Why don't I give away Aquitaine? There's really no reason for me to hold that, because let's say I re-inherit Galère. I'm gonna take Valois because that has Paris. So I'd probably wind up giving away Aquitaine anyway, so... Yes, so I hear what you're saying about the vassals, Cloud9, but at the moment I only have... Like, at the moment I only have the 4K, and I don't have any money. The fastest, like, so the retinue's gonna take a while for me to build up, so I think the better use of the money right now is to create duchies that will, that'll kind of that'll lower that vassal limit, and in that case I'll have a stronger army overall. The only catch here is I need to try and find people who... Well, they're all gonna hate me, but... Don't hate me enough to be a danger. I'll go with him. So this will also get rid of that negative from having too many held duchies. Because in the end, like when I'm thinking of it, I'm at least gonna have Valois, so that's gonna be a duchy that I create that I take for myself anyway. It's actually fewer... That's probably gonna be a lower reduction than I thought it was gonna be. But I'll live with it. I think I just need to sit and collect some more gold. When can I change my focus? Oh, good. So I can change it to business, and I'll be making some more cash after a couple of months as well. How's my strength? Almost. So I got about 1,000 troops out of that. So it's not... It's definitely not an ideal situation, but I feel less nervous about hitting the unpause button, because I think we're going to get into a little bit of a loop in terms of earning money that will that'll allow us to build these duchies a little bit faster than before. If I'm going to give out duchies, I want to stick to the ones in West Francia and in the de jure kingdoms. The ones that I don't have a title for, Aquitaine, Burgundy, and Frisia, because they won't have automatic Desires Kingdom of X modifiers. Because I have Italy and Middle Francia, and they aren't my primary, all the dukes in those de jure kingdoms will dislike you for having their king. No, that's fine. It's good to know mechanic stuff like that. I definitely agree with the location you're talking about. Oh, hey, I didn't know I had another 70 bucks coming in. That's good. Right now it's about 5 gold a turn, but that will change in a couple of months when I switch to the business orientation. Again, there is an unfortunate consequence. Oh man, they are getting strong. So much so that I actually want to... They're available in October. So I suspect I'm probably going to have a rebellion on my hands before anything. The rebellious Emir, you've received a most unusual embassy from Spain. An emissary of the Emir Abdul Qadir of the Kalrid Emirate comes before you and speaks. My lord has come to request your assistance against the evil Sultan of the Umayyad Sultanate. He asks for your pledge in armed assistance in rebellion, and in return he will swear fealty to you once the yoke of the Umayyad oppression is off his back. So, The challenge with this is that I'm not in a good state to be committing to military excursions. In addition to the fact that I've probably got a rebellion on my hands very soon, I have got a... I'm going to need to spend a lot of money to get these duchies created. The fact of the matter is that this rebellion is probably going to kick off at the time that I don't want it to. But the possibility of weakening the Umayyads and gaining an ally in that region is somewhat tempting. So I definitely lose face. So in this case, I lose the 30 prestige if I don't commit. In this case, I will say yes. I might have to abandon them after the fact. But in this case here, it gives me the option, and if I can get my house in order, then I will, I'll be able to reap the benefit from it. So there's a cost, but it's one that I'm willing to take a little bit of a gamble on. I am not expelling the Jewry, Cloud9. Exactly, CPO. You only YOLO once. Carney, thank you very much for the follow. Sorry the audio is so quiet there. I'm sure Woody Allen is probably not what everybody wants to hear anyway, but... Hey, the Saxons! Filthy Infidel Charles, may wisdom ever elude you. This is a formal declaration of war. Our armies shall meet on the field of battle. That's probably because they have a bigger army than me. Yup. So what do I do with these Saxons? This is specifically why I wasn't going to expel the Jewry, because I need to figure out how I handle an invasion like this. So, if I expel the Jewry now, 40 is a very young age to have a drag on technology. And I suspect I'm going to lose a lot of technology for that. This is actually... So, the mistake was actually a few steps back in invading Lombardy. Because I've got more factions than I can deal with. Alright, so... So here are my options to deal... Like, this is basically just overall a terrible situation, which is caused by the fact that I overextended and didn't create a situation in which I could deal with the extra vassals. So, the actual numbers aren't that bad. So if I take a look at what they have, 2.61. I have about 2.1 or something like that. Yeah, 2.11. So... adding mercenaries is more or less a guarantee win. The challenge is that if I expel the Jewry so I can hire mercenaries to deal with this, then I don't have anything to deal with the factions that come up. The next option is I expel the Jewry and I use that to build duchies. So, and that's on the assumption that by sufficiently lowering my vassal limit, I gain enough of a force. But the other way of looking at this... So the other way that you can think about this is I can say... you know what? I don't get enough money for that. So the outside-the-box solution is actually to do the thing that I didn't want to do, which is to give away a kingdom. Now, the problem is that I don't have the empire yet, so Oh, wait a minute. What does it cost to make the Holy Roman Empire? Alright, so unfortunately I need to expel the Jewry, but this is how I'm going to deal with this. So if you decided to expel all Jews from the realm, after your guards round the Jewry up, they are forced to depart in yet another large exodus for lands more friendly to their kind. They are allowed to keep many of their belongings, but you confiscate much of their gold. It shall go to the crown. So, 283 gold. How do we make the most of it? Oh, wait, we also can sell a prisoner for 10. So, why can I not create the Holy Roman Empire? My entire strategy hinged around that. Ah, the head of the religion needs to have an opinion of 100 of me. That is not happening anytime soon. So, I have a big decision to make now, because the intention was to create an empire to give away the kingdom of Italy. That will lower my vassal count, that will increase my army size. What does Saxony want? I think they just want to conquer. They want Cologne. Cloud9, how much does Francia cost? So, because I can't create my empire, I face the decision of either hiring mercenaries to crush the Saxons and hope that these rebellions don't happen. Generally, I don't like assuming that opponents will behave in suboptimal strategies. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of a census of the different duchies that I can create, and use that to bolster my armies. So let's take a look. It's 400 gold. I don't own Brittany, but I wouldn't need Brittany to create the empire. I have 95% of the holdings for it. The Pope doesn't like me because I apparently have territory that he wants, known murderer, adulterer, 2 times adulterer, and just generally doesn't seem to have that high of an opinion of me to begin with. I can't believe I can't switch the focus until August. Yeah, 26th of August. So I think the big problem is once I raise my armies, I'm going to be paying too much. But yeah, so this is going to be a little tedious for a while because I want to see how I can lower this vassal count. Oh, this is great, actually. So I also give up one of my... held territories. So in this case, we will create Champagne. So now we're down to 51. As far as our army size is concerned, what the hell? We just lost... Oh, that sucks. Okay, I thought we were going to increase the army size, not decrease it, but because I gave away one of my titles, probably. I don't even think we have enough money to make another duchy. That's another blunder. Okay, so the way I'm going to handle this is... No, I'm just going to run it out. Oop. Ogier the Dane. My lord, there's a visitor at the gate, a Norseman calling himself Ogier. He looks strong and rugged, but also speaks with grace and has noble bearing. He says that he comes from the land of the Danes, and he's traveled far to offer his services to you. Naming you the rightful lord of all Christians, he also claims to have seen a dream in which you will conquer... Oh, sorry. He also claims to have seen in a dream how you will conquer all, and your name will rise in glory to the heavens. Welcome to the bringer of good prophecies. So yeah, I mean, the temptation here is to raise an army and to kind of take out these smaller pockets, but I don't actually think I'm going to arrive there on time. So I'm going to try and wait this out as long as I can. Yeah, I read that the first time, Carney. I'm not going to... I prefer not to give away land. I'm probably going to wind up losing this anyway, but I don't... Giving away land to the papacy is hard for me to get back. I also don't have the money to create the Holy Roman Empire anymore, so it doesn't... the original reason why I wanted a higher papal authority... Well, okay, I'll give an example. If I... Okay, I can't grant the title anyway. But what I was going to say was, assuming it brought the opinion up high enough, I would also need the cash to create the Holy Roman Empire. So the I mean, the likely scenario here is that I wind up losing this title, so if I raise my army right now, I wind up incurring costs. If they get caught, I wind up losing troops, which means I'm overall weaker. Basically, there's no advantage to me raising my troops right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait on them to kind of take some time to get their sieges underway. There's a lot of things that can happen in this intervening time. The Pope can give me money. Somebody could die and I inherit things. There's a few different paths through which I can get some cash. I think if I haven't... Yeah, I mean... Don't have any others. I wonder... Actually, here's an unexpected way to try and get some cash. 63... 73... There's a side of me that almost wonders if I can imprison him and banish him for money. But what does he have? 80's okay. I don't feel like that's the right way to go, though. Also, do they have allies? No. Alright, let's see if we can ask the Pope for cash. Nope. That greedy Pope. Alright. Plan B. And I don't really have any allies anymore because I took over Lombardy. So, again, we just sit back. It's not ideal because we're probably just going to wind up losing territory out of this, but we'll wait. We'll try and gather as much money as we can. If this allows us to create another title which increases our army, great, then we can face them down. If we don't, then... You know, we learn from our mistake, we do what we can to build things back up, try and survive the uprisings when they occur, and see what happens. Alright, so I think that actually gives us enough money for another duchy. Oh, not quite. Are they all 152? The biggest problem here is that, other than Ferrara, I think all of these will basically just reduce my vassal count by 1. But it's kind of the best of all of these crappy options that I have. Oh, wait, maybe Anjou. No, that's only 2 as well. And I don't believe I can move my Spy Master yet, which is probably the biggest shame out of all of this. So, you know, the other thing that I can do while I'm waiting out is training troops. So. So a little bit of a shame just to see how they're moving here, because I suspect I might have actually been able to get away with... Oh, yeah, this is definitely not the time I want to be doing this. So the Umayyads have 9,000 troops. So in this case I lose 100 prestige and I gain the trait Deceitful, but you know what, screw them. Alright, so now they've got the 2,500 troops, which is a little bit more than I was expecting actually. Oh no, it was 26. So kind of the hour of doom is upon us. There's not a lot that we can do about this here. But I'm not too far off from being able to get that next duchy, so... Of course we have a peasant revolt. What other characters and kingdoms have I played? Which is my favorite? Well, I only did one full... I only did one full playthrough on Iron Man, where I actually started off as the Count of Westmoreland. And we kind of turned it into an empire of Britannia from Iceland to, you know, large parts of Iberia. We basically took over West Africa, some parts of the Middle East, including Jerusalem. I think we even had Bavaria at some point. In terms of my private games, one that I've really enjoyed was... one game that I really enjoyed was... God, why can't I remember this? I played as Ireland and I turned them into a merchant republic. But I'd say probably I've had 3 full, or like, proper-ish starts. Alright, talk to you later, Cloud9. So, like, as far as historical starts and things like that, I don't have a real favorite yet. Just because I haven't really played so many of the historical starts so much as looking at things like, I haven't done the kinds of historical starts where I play like characters where they start you off at the beginning. I've always looked for something like start off with a small count and move my way up. There's a side of me that actually thinks I should maybe just restart this playthrough because I've made... Like, it's one thing to make one mistake, but I've actually made a couple of really big blunders. We started off okay on this playthrough in terms of reducing the number of vassals, but that decision to take Lombardy really hurt me, and now I don't think I'm going to be able to recover from the rebellion either. Let's run it out. Let's see what we can do with the gold that we get. But I have a suspicion that if we want to see a good Charlemagne game, I probably need to take it from the beginning again. Alright. So what did that do for our troop strength? Nothing great. But given enough time, we're at 3,000 troops. I mean, It's not hopeless. Yeah, I haven't actually... this is literally the first time I played Charlemagne, but, I mean, we weren't that far into the playthrough when we started. How many holdings are there in Colne? Okay, so there's 4 holdings, and the third one is going to be a castle, so... Everybody pray that the rebellion doesn't happen. Okay, we've got a tithe. How much is it? 30? Okay, it's not really going to give me a lot, but... Oh, this is beautiful! So the rebellion's just been dealt for me by the rebellion has been dealt with by the Saxons, so I'm getting a little bit more out of that, which is good. I mean, the problem is once we actually do go to war with the, or once we actually do face down the Saxons, the rebellions are going to fire for sure. But in the meantime, let's take on business. We will still play this like we're pretending we're gonna win, and hopefully these vassals getting their behinds kicked will buy us a little bit of time too. CPO has seen me recover from war. That's true. I actually don't think that's a pagan. Oh yeah, sorry. You mean the Saxons? That's true. What I think I'll do is if the... so losing territory I won't say is a resettable one, but if I wind up having to take a government style that it's going to take me a couple of generations to recover from, I'll probably restart the playthrough at that point, just because I don't think there's a lot of value in watching, you know, 2 or 3 generations bringing us back to, like, Gavelkind succession or something like that, so... Problem is, I don't think my reinforcements are quite there. I mean, I could bring them up right now, but I get 1 shot with this gun. So we'll wait until the darkest hour, and then we'll raise our levies. The other problem too is I'm actually gonna... So, like, the levy here is not gonna work. Neither is this levy because they've taken it. So any number I have is also going to be slightly lower, just because there's levies that that are kind of that are blocked by having enemy troops in them. I also they kind of tick down a little bit by laying siege, so letting this run out isn't the worst strategy in the world. If I want a cool challenge later, starting this Saxon... Oh, that'd be really cool, actually. I can't remember who is... There's like a big general that caused Charlemagne a lot of trouble. It's like Wilderness Child or something like that. I can't remember what the name was. And somebody told me there's apparently an event that comes up with him in this game, which I think would be kind of neat. Okay, the big question is, do I want to pull the trigger on this now? Because we're at 2,600. We are losing gold each time they do this as well. I think they're coming onto our castle now. Oh god, see, this is so hard. I'm actually going to let them take this province. The reason for that is I might have enough money to make one more... No, you know what? If I make another duchy, I'm not going to have enough money to pay for my army, so... I think now is the time. You only YOLO once. Okay, this isn't a really impressive looking army, I'm not gonna lie. Wouterkind, if you do the Saxony event as Charlemagne, you conquer them and the event fires. Oh, wow, okay. So don't just conquer Saxony with a bunch of... with a good troop reserve. So yeah, that was the right call, not... Oh, okay, well, fair enough. We've at least got rid of the heresy. Small mercies. So I'd like to take out heresies, but having learned my mistake, I'm actually going to need an empire sooner than I thought. So let's take him and improve religious relations with the papacy. I also think my spy master is available, so... Go to Firenze and please keep those rebels down. Threatening him is probably not the way to go here. Let's obligate him. Thank you for reminding my honors and my duties and obligations as a vassal. You are right, of course, for the foreseeable future. You have my promise not to support factions conspiring against you. Very good. If I watch the internet, I notice that I YOLO at least a few dozen times a day. I hate that phrase, but I will exploit it for comedic effect if I have to. I think I underestimated the time that it would take to get my troops in order, so it looks like they're going to take this holding anyway. Okay, depending how large the tithe is... Oh, see... I can't really make a duchy with that, because I can't pay for my army anymore. Betrothed can marry? Yes. What other games do I stream? So, Friday nights are always Crusader Kings 2, or may possibly be expanded to other Paradox titles as well. Mondays are my other, like, guaranteed streaming day. Guaranteed streaming day. That is a little bit more of a variety cast. So one game that I spent a lot of time on the playthrough for was actually Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut, which is a fantastic game. Once Hong Kong is released, I'll be doing a full playthrough of that. Recently we've been playing a bit of Titan Souls as well as Hand of Fate. Hand of Fate is a fantastic game if you haven't... Well, so is Titan Souls, but Hand of Fate's a really interesting game because it takes a lot of the tropes from a, you know, the trade or the collectible card games, but it kind of makes it its own thing. It adds a couple of roguelike elements, and it, I don't know, it's very simple at the start, but the difficulty ramps up fairly quickly, and I find it a very satisfying game to play. We have done Antechamber. I haven't played it to completion, unfortunately, but in general, it's there's quite a bit that that we wind up playing on the other days. It's not just grand strategy. I generally avoid very high emotion games because of the limitations that I have of the broadcast quality, but I try to. Kintera66, thank you very much for following, especially in the face of these stupefying odds. Oh, you haven't played the expansion? Play the crap. Yeah, so I mean, I get a tremendous amount of fun playing that game. So in general, I definitely have something of a strategy bent, both because of my temperament, but also because I think it streams a little bit better. I definitely like games where I'm able to explore them either from a design point of view or from some of my academic interests. I think I alluded to the fact that I'm an economics student before. I'm going to be pursuing my master's degree at the University of British Columbia this coming fall. So while I don't necessarily want to turn them all into... I'm not going to unpause. We need to savor this moment. This is where we make or break history. You know, I don't want to turn them into you know, lectures about you know, about econometrics or game theory or something like that. But I also think that gaming can be a very interesting lens to maybe explore some ideas that turn people off when they first take these classes, and maybe, you know, you can turn them around and suddenly show them in a light that people find interesting. So I definitely like games like that. I've been intending to do a playthrough of this War of Mine because the thesis that I wrote for my undergrad was about small-scale conflict. So obviously this War of Mine is inspired by the Siege of Sarajevo, and I think both in terms of a game design perspective, but also in terms of some of the concepts that I do my analyses through, it's a very effective game for talking about those kinds of subjects. So very heavy on the talk, not as much gameplay as you probably noticed, but definitely kind of a bit of definitely quite a lot of variety on the other days of the cast. Antichamber makes your brain melt. Oh, and don't forget, yeah, I won't forget Kerbal. So I have an intention of doing a special playthrough of Kerbal Space Program. All right, let's watch this. Let's even slow it down to 2 so we can watch the... It's not looking very good in the center, but we'll see. We'll see if it works. Not looking good for our morale, I'll say that, but we do have the numbers. I think we've lost it. Yeah, they're too strong. No, what happened? Alright. So I think at this point we just need to disband them. What causes those Saxons to be so strong? I don't think it's technology, but I'm curious. But yeah, we'll be doing a playthrough of Kerbal Space Program as well. And it's not just that, it won't just be Kerbal Space Program, but it'll actually be an in-character playthrough. I have a very specific idea about what I would like to do for... what I'd like to do to maybe add a little bit of flavor to it. So it'll be career mode, and I don't know, it'll be goofy. I really don't think there's any way we can kind of come back from this. Maybe if the Pope gives us some more money. Nope. What about these factions? It's independence now. So I mean, on that note, I've been really lucky in terms of the these factions. We are making a little bit of money, but not enough to do what we need. You know, the other thing that I probably could have done was hired mercenaries to just go all in on the Saxons, but. Alright, they gave up! Okay, that's encouraging. Extra reinforcements. Oh, so they're fighting another war. It's Pomerania. Well, that buys us time, right? I think what I will do then is just... I don't like doing this, but I am going to bring the army up just so I can crush this other just so I can crush this rebellion. It's not going to stop the levy reinforcements, but I'm just going to hammer them with everything that I can. That will free up this territory here. And actually, how many do I need to do the siege? 493... Okay, so I'm going to take 1,000, and I'm actually going to get my holdings back. Ah, damn it. I think they're on their way back. Alright, well, it's a bit premature, but we'll go for it. I see your message, CPO. That's not a bad idea, actually. If you want, like, I don't know if you want to hear what I have planned, but if you'd like a preview, especially because you're one of the reasons I'm actually doing this playthrough. But if you want a preview about what's coming up, when I talk to you about that other thing, we can. Oh wait, I don't even need to. But yeah, so if you want a preview about what's coming up, let me know. I'll fill you in, and if you just want to wait for the broadcast to see it, that's fine too. Okay, so for whatever reason, fate has smiled on us, and we're still in this thing. So the catch is if the Saxons come back with their army. It looks like they are dealing with an invasion on their territory. They might have even just lost a big war. Nope, they still got 2,000 troops. So I'm still sitting on these troops. Again, I've got the numbers. In theory, I've got the numbers to be able to take them on, but they seem to have a stronger force, which is a drawback. But what I can do here is I can... a long war benefits me, because if they're not able to take their target in time, then I get what I need. Now, the drawback is having troops raised means that I'm going to be losing money, where in reality I would actually want to be increasing the amount of money that I have, so I can make these duchies and so I can raise my troop strength. So we're on a really tight budget, basically. But as for this, 40 gold for 30 prestige and a chance for 1 learning. Can't really afford that right now. What I will do, though, is I'll at least get my territory back so that I can raise that war score a little bit. And in that case, I can... again, if I have the long war, then the war score starts ticking against them, and in this case, I gain an advantage. All right, so there's revolts in my realm, but not one's directed at me, so I'm happy about that. This faction is something it's just a sword of Damocles waiting to drop. Liege, it is most unfortunate that you happen to hold a title that I all agree rightfully should be mine. In order to lift this dark cloud on our relations, may I suggest an adjustment? He gains the Duchy of Ferrara. I have the Duchy of Ferrara? I thought I gave that to some... Take it. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, it didn't give me the troops that I needed, but... So as tempted as I am to run up and take on those troops, I kind of need to... I need to start ticking up some war score in this area. Definitely looks like they are on the receiving end of a beating. So, it's, again, it would be really nice if I could run these troops in and get some war score from beating their groups. Ooh. Oh, this is interesting. To the most illustrious King Charles, good burghers of Go... Oh, it's barely able to pay their taxes, so... I'm not going to bribe him. I'll just say... An absurd request? Can I afford it? Yes. Again, I'm playing with fire, getting the people angry at me, but how are the Saxons doing? They're losing a lot of troops. I'm still not at a point where I can really engage them. I am particularly interested in the fact that my treasury is increasing, so what we will do here is make another title. Bourbon. Alright, we'll grant it to him. He's got 55 opinion of me, so he's definitely going to, he's less likely to join one of the factions. So we're at 48 of 31 vassals, and looks like that hasn't affected our troop size, which surprises me a little bit, but we're at least a little bit closer to our goals. So, one of the sort of silver lining of the Saxon Horde is that you should have a positive defending against foreigners, heathens modifier with my voice. Yes, that's actually a really good point. So that could be what's holding off these factions. Although I'm noticing, so apparently my spy master's a wizard. What just happened there? And can I move them again? Apparently independence is no longer a priority for these people, so... This is going to be ridiculous if I actually get out of this. So, I mean, the best thing that can happen here is they get their asses kicked by Pomerania, which means I can do my own invasion of them and enforce demands, which gives me cash. After I've made another courtier cry, the third one in a short week, I felt a bit embarrassed. Is this really who I am? A cruel man who likes to hurt people? Well, I mean, cruel would be great for the morale damage, but I think I need kind just to... I mean, it hurts my intrigue, but in this case it'll increase my diplomacy, which is the thing that I need to keep the vassals happy, so... I don't believe... I think because she's a bastard, I don't get any alliances. Oh, hello. See, age 6 is a problem, though, so... You know what? It's not great, but let's betroth her to him. I don't really think I have any better alternatives, to be honest. Frisia, Bavaria. Well, hang on. Well, he's 38 though, so. You know what? Let's go for that. It looks like Bavaria's lost, to be completely honest, but we potentially get the option. Okay, so now we start laying siege to there's two reasons why we need to start laying siege to their territories right now. It sucks because I'm actually gonna be really short on cash. But the main reason why I want to lay siege to their territories is to prevent them from being able to raise levies. I want to be careful that I'm not treading on anything that the... I want to be careful that I'm not treading on anything that the enemy faction wants, like the Pomeranians, because in that case, you know, I lose my troops to their forces, but... we can at least do a little bit of damage and tick up our war score. That is a pretty expensive prospect, though, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do this for long. Let's see what we can get when we... Well, we'll drop these guys so we don't spend too much. We'll see if we get any money from the sieges. One cool thing with the guy on the claim of Frisia, he's the son of a former king of Frisia, who the Franks conquered and deposed in history. His son is now in exile in England with a claim on the now... Okay. That is... See, this is the stuff that I like, Carney. We were actually talking a little bit earlier. And by the way, I think I've been talking a little bit less than I normally do in the playthrough, guys, so sorry about that. God damn it! The Breton Liberation Revolt has declared the liberation of Brittany on King Charles... I don't own Brittany. A dangerous revolt has broken out in Rennes. Many prominent Briton landhold... Oh, that's right. This is a triggered event. Raise an army of peasants trained and led by a corps of proper soldiers. They seek to restore the kingdom of Brittany. Worrisome. Alright, so we've kind of balanced things out. Oh god, 2280. Do I have the numbers? We gotta put this thing to bed. So... I'll let them finish that siege. Let's get everybody back in the capital. And we'll see what comes of this. I'm just losing so much money though. And 1 gold really doesn't cut it. Okay, well they're splitting their forces, which is nice. Oh god, the Slavic uprising. This is why I tried to get rid of the... Slavic religion. We will obligate instead of threaten because I do not want to piss these guys off. So similar ideas here. We're trying to draw these things out as much as we can. Oh, 70 gold. That's nice. Oh, hang on. Do I get to steal anything from them? No, I do not. So 70 gold keeps me afloat as far as troops are concerned. How I deal with the 2,700 troops, I'm not 100% on. This is a little bit more comprehensible, though. So we invade from the north. Looks like they are going to be combining their forces just to deal with... Actually, they outnumber me. That's odd. Okay. So I'm going to let them take a little bit of territory that'll allow me to raise some money. And just kind of get my strength up to handle these guys. Again, the fact of the matter is, this is a bit of a lost cause right now. I'm not entirely sure what they need to get that war score up, and again, I need to... The appeal of the Saxon War is that I might be able to press some... I might be able to enforce demands on them if I have enough of a standing army. So, right now they're just getting punished by Pomerania. I kind of want that to string out as long as I can, so my priorities at the moment... Oh, sorry, I feel like I started talking about something and I didn't, so... Carney, the one thing that kind of came up in the playthrough today is that there's a tendency to have a lot of advice which becomes kind of chat-activated controller, which is something I don't respond very well to. But things like what you told me are the things I really like the most about having an active chat on a game like this, because like I don't know the history that well. I wouldn't have known that Easter egg had you not told me. Now again, like clearly I've made some big strategic blunders in here. Maybe it would have made more sense to give away the kingdoms. I think it would have been more sensible not to get Lombardy. But what I've tended to notice is I've tried a couple of games where I take a lot of advice from chat, and it just kind of winds up being this weird Quasimodo of a playthrough where like nothing really turns out well, and everybody gets mad at me for not playing it right anyway. I did want to make sure that I gave you some credit for your contribution, because that's the kind of stuff I really like hearing from people. So there's a couple of things to talk about the current thing that I'm running into. Notice that the war score is actually ticking against the Saxons, and that's just because they don't have any of the territory that they were claiming right now. So this is good for me. Next thing is that while it's hair-raising to have an enemy force take some of your territory because you see that negative number, they do need to split up their forces to in order to be able to like to hold these areas. So that's one of the reasons why I actually held. I mean, I obviously hold one piece of territory there right now, but basically the garrison is 250. To take this next one, it's 200. That's reducing my force size. So once you're at those really marginal levels, if you need a little bit of an edge over your enemy, you can actually sit there, let them hold a couple of territories, and I already know that I have the force to be able to take them on. Right now, I'm just trying to reinforce as much as I can to be able to engage them. I still don't know what I'm going to do about the Slavic uprising. I suspect that one's probably going to require a miracle, but we've gotten lucky the last couple of times, so we'll see. And I don't have factions to worry about anymore, so I guess I'm not allowed to reset this playthrough. But yeah, like, the biggest thing that I can say is, like, when you're facing a much stronger opponent, the instant reaction, like, I think the natural reaction for anybody in pretty much any situation is, I need to do something now. We need to fix this problem. But there's a big virtue to holding out, and it's a little bit like, think about what we were talking about when these problems first came up, which is, you know, okay, I'm not going to be able to take on the Saxons, but let's just wait. Let's not raise any levies that we know we're going to lose. Let's just wait it out and see what we can get. Now that strategy didn't turn out, but as it happens, you know, we got beaten Koln. It at least sort of delayed things a bit. It weakened their forces, and the Pomeranians came in and cleaned them up. So now we have a fighting chance against the Saxons. You know, we went from -80 to -36. Similar situation happening right now. We know we can take these guys out, and so that's what we're going to dedicate our force to. They also have the largest gains. The Slavic uprising, I'm not quite sure, because we're actually going to lose quite a few troops taking on these guys. It's one of the reasons why I want them to run this out as much as they can. I just want to see de jure kingdoms. So yeah, they can actually take this entire province before we take on these guys. So that's another example of sort of where the patience pays off. Now, why doesn't he like me now? I wish I could try and give... I don't actually want to give him the title, but I am interested to see how much opinion that increases by. The other thing to keep in mind, too, is we do currently have a plot after him. Now, the fact of the matter is, unless I actually get some extra people involved, it's not going to do anything. But it's always nice to see how these... or like... Again, the longer you delay these things, the more suddenly the quote-unquote random things can turn to your advantage. It's actually... So the best analogy that I can take is, again, my Dota 2 play. A hero like Ogre Magi. Now, it's a hero which has a deserved reputation for being, like, if you're new at the game, you can play Ogre Magi because, you know, a lot of his major abilities are based around random numbers. So, you know, the fact of the matter is like, skilled ogre play is kind of hard to... It's kind of hard to see because, you know, there's that element of randomness to it. Now, with that in mind, though, I'm very much of the opinion that you can create your own luck with that hero. The more situations you put yourself in for these, like, mind-blowing, oh my god, RNG screwed me level encounters, overall, you're going to have better performance. So, you know, it's very much in the case of that hero, you miss every shot that you miss every shot that you don't take or something like that. That hero's more or less the definition of it. Every time that I've played Ogre, the more times I just attempt to do those 1 in a million shots, you know, the laws of random numbers don't change. I still, you know, the majority of them don't actually trigger the multicast that you're looking for. But the fact of the matter is that the mere possibility of that happening, like the cost is so low, and the potential benefit is so high for doing those 1 in a million shots that the more you try to... The more that you try to do it, the more it winds up paying off. So similar situation here, right? It's like, I know I'm gonna lose these fights if I engage in them now, but by waiting it out, I allow chance to create more situations where I potentially have some nonsense save me. So at this point, I'm gonna have to fire this off a little prematurely, and that's just because they've taken the one duchy. Again, because they want to recreate the Kingdom of Brittany, I can't afford to have them make too much progress in this territory. So again, just combining all of my troops in a fairly safe place. And I think we should... I guess we have to go for Anjou. I just want to make sure we don't have a river in between us. Yeah, we're good. As far as the Slavs, I'm really... I don't even know what they're trying to accomplish. One day getting back to free... You know, that is actually a really neat idea for a Steam achievement. Now, so, I'll say, Carney, that the... And by the way, I apologize, I probably have been butchering your name, but, I don't, I actually don't have any good excuse. It's just I'm not good with names. I haven't had the best experience with the Paradox forums personally, but my understanding is that they are generally kind of receptive to community contributions. Have you ever thought of suggesting that as an achievement? Because I think, you know, the story that you just told me, it's certainly an achievement I'd like to see in the game. Position. Attack! Attack now! Charge! I gain the Wrath trait. Okay. I need to appoint a new Chancellor. Apparently he's a better fighter than he is a Chancellor. Do I pull him out of my army, though? Probably not while he's leading it. Oh, this is frightening. This is almost like the Saxon fight. I thought because they were rebels, I wouldn't suffer as much. So what do we lose on that? 756 to their 10,000. So I was kind of hoping for fewer casualties, but at least we've put out one of the fires. And good old Charlemagne has been wounded. So this might mean an early death for him, which is a shame, but it does mean that we get to solve a couple of the other issues that we had, and I believe we probably we'll probably get some cash from the heir. So everybody knows how deep and passionate the love between one of the courtiers and his wife are, but sadly it has not resulted in any children. I've heard the wife asking other wives for cures and ways to get with child, but to no avail. He might be impotent, I have to know!